Are you ready to revolutionize education in your institution of learning? Welcome to the Tech-Enabled Teachers Conference 2024, where innovation meets inspiration. The theme of this conference is Empowering Educators, Leveraging AI for Teaching and Learning. Join us as we explore cutting-edge AI tools that are transforming classrooms around the globe. From personalized learning experiences to advanced data analytics, discover how AI is empowering educators to unlock every student's potential. We are thrilled to present an incredible lineup of speakers, which includes Afelumo Rotimi Abiodun, Thaddeus Akinbile, Lisa Welsh, Professor Dr. Sasa Asofsky, Dr. Bosede Iyade Edwards, Edwin Lowe, Liz Shahid, Elizabeth Brombo, Kelvin Gregorio, Shohan Chowdhury, Isaac Bankole, Yano Islam Piachi, Tim Evans. Topic of discussion includes personalization over standardization, a path forward with AI, time-saving tips to transformative teaching moments, using AI for personalized student learning and engagement, AI in higher education, pushing the boundaries of distance learning and tutoring, navigating the integration of AI in K-12 classrooms. The conference also features deep dives and panel sessions. Immerse yourself in hands-on workshops, inspiring keynote sessions, and meaningful networking opportunities with fellow educators and tech pioneers. Don't miss out on the opportunity to transform your teaching practice. Register now for the Tech-Enabled Teachers Conference and be a part of the future of education. Empower yourself, empower your teachers, and empower your students. Leverage the power of AI. See you at TETC, where the future of education begins. Are you ready to revolutionize education in your institution of learning? Welcome to the Tech-Enabled Teachers Conference 2024, where innovation meets inspiration. The theme of this conference is Empowering Educators, Leveraging AI for Teaching and Learning. Join us as we explore cutting-edge AI tools that are transforming classrooms around the globe. From personalized learning experiences to advanced data analytics, discover how AI is empowering educators to unlock every student's potential. We are thrilled to present an incredible lineup of speakers, which includes Afelumo Rotimi Abiodun, Thaddeus Akinbile, Lisa Welsh, Professor Dr. Sasa Asofsky, Dr. Bosede Iyade Edwards, Edwin Lowe, Liz Shahid, Elizabeth Brombo, Kelvin Gregorio, Shohan Chowdhury, Isaac Bankole, Yano Islam Piachi, Tim Evans. Topic of discussion includes personalization over standardization, a path forward with AI, time-saving tips to transformative teaching moments, using AI for personalized student learning and engagement, AI in higher education, pushing the boundaries of distance learning and tutoring, navigating the integration of AI in K-12 classrooms. The conference also features deep dives and panel sessions. Immerse yourself in hands-on workshops, inspiring keynote sessions, and meaningful networking opportunities with fellow educators and tech pioneers. Don't miss out on the opportunity to transform your teaching practice. Register now for the Tech-Enabled Teachers Conference and be a part of the future of education. Empower yourself, empower your teachers, and empower your students. Leverage the power of AI. See you at TETC, where the future of education begins.
Are you able to?
Shohan Chowdhury is the co-founder and CEO of Flint, an AI platform for schools. Top private schools in the US as well as international schools across the world use Flint to provide students with one-to-one AI tutoring. Before founding Flint, Shohan built and sold a video chat company and studied computer science at Georgia Tech. TETC. Together, let's welcome Shohan Chowdhury. Kelvin Gregorio is the Director of Learning Services at St. Joseph Preparatory School in Philadelphia, where he works with teachers, students, and administrators to improve student outcomes. Additionally, Kelvin is a PhD candidate in the Educational Psychology Doctoral Program at the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, where he studies retrieval practice and self-regulated learning in adolescence. TETC. Let's welcome together Kelvin Gregorio. Yano has 6 plus years of startup building experience in edtech industry. Founded his first company, Bohubrihi, during his university days, bootstrapped it for 4 years and got acquired by Shikor in a cash and stock deal in late 2021. After heading it for another 2.5 years, he recently exited to build his next venture, Monsha AI, for teachers and educators around the world. Products, customers, and go-to market are his comfort zone. Finding problems, building solutions, getting them out into the market, and building a meaningful business along the way. TETC. Together, let's welcome Yano Islampiash. Ken Morrison has been teaching and leading with educational technology internationally since 2009. Through his experience teaching at universities, K-12 international schools and corporate trainings, he has a unique blend of theory, practice, and practical tips to help teachers transform classrooms. Ken has been an active Apple Distinguished Educator since 2013, often presenting at regional and global Apple educational events. He was also part of Google's first Google Champions cohort and Synopsium in 2023. Ken has taught primarily in Heinam University and Busan Foreign Schools in South Korea, as well as Raffles American Schools in Malaysia, as a computer science teacher, ICT teacher, new media professor, digital learning coach, and technology integration specialist. He is currently transitioning into a new role of instructional coach. TETC. Together, let's welcome Ken Morrison. Dr. Edwards is a seasoned academic and industry professional with over 27 years of combined experience in the field of education and research. She holds both Masters and PhD in Educational Technology, in addition to a honors, Bachelor in Chemistry and a Master's in Organic Chemistry. Dr. Edwards has a proven track record in education research leadership, and she has authored several articles that have been published in high-impact journals and books. Her research interest revolves around the potentials of AI, blockchain, immersive media, and other emerging technologies in transforming future school. Dr. Edwards is passionate about and has extensive experience in fostering industry academia and interdisciplinary academic and research collaborations. She is currently a senior lecturer and industry coordinator at the Center for Instructional Technology and Multimedia, University of Science, Malaysia. She also serves as senior consultant at Global Trends Academy, TETC. Together, let's welcome Dr. Bosede Iyade Edwards. Afelmo Rotimi Abiodun is a dedicated edtech enthusiast with 11 years of well-rounded professional experience in educational technology and integration in international schools. As the head of Group Information Technology at Raffles Education Corporation in Singapore, he oversees the implementation and management of IT systems across the organization. His expertise spans Google Admin, Microsoft 360 Admin, robotics and coding, where he excels in enhancing learning and experiences and driving technological advancement in education. With a strong background in tech coaching, Mr. Rotimi mentors educators and students, helping them leverage technology for better educational outcomes. His role in Mr.
Let's start then. Yeah, perfect.
All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. For those who are not in Nigeria, good evening, good morning, wherever you are joining us from. where we are is afternoon, but good evening, good day, good morning, good afternoon. This is the afternoon session of the TETC conference. If you're excited to be here, can we put TETC Day 2 in the chat room, in the chat box? TETC Day 2. Let's see how excited we are. How was the morning session for us? What are the take homes? How was the session? How was the session? How was the panel session? How was the deep dive? How were the sessions? Let's have your comments. Let's see if we are here and we are ready. If you're ready, say, hi, I'm joining from Spain. Oh, wow, from Spain. This is Tim Evans. Wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. TTC Day 2. Thank you. Thank you. Let's have those comments coming. Now, you can also go to the WhatsApp group quickly. We are going to start. We are starting off with a panel session again, and it's going to be an intense one. The panel session is talking about integrating AI into K-12 classrooms, right? Integrating AI into K-12 classrooms. So quickly, we're going to be starting off, but I want more people to join in. Tell them we're back. You can go to the WhatsApp group and chat. Afternoon session is live. You can send the links to your friends and all that. The afternoon session is beginning immediately. There's so much. There's so much to communicate. There's so much we have to share, and so you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss that. This afternoon, we are starting, like I said, with a panel session. Right? It's going to be talking about navigating the integration of AI in K-12 classrooms, right? We're going to have about 3 panelists, right? Maybe I should mention their names, or I should wait for Mr. Rotimi to do that. He's going to come and usher them in. So please do that. If you have not followed our social media platforms, please do well to do so. It is at TETC Media, right? TETC Media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, right? All right, are we ready? If we're ready, say we are ready. I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready in the chat room. So we know that we are ready, and we kick off the panel session for the afternoon session. All right, I'm not seeing any I'm ready yet. I want to see I'm ready. Thank you, beautiful. I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. All right, we're going to begin the panel session immediately. We don't want to spend so much time because we have a lot of things to communicate. All right, I'm ready. The speakers are already available. I can see them already. They're here. I'm ready. Good, good, good. Excited, exciting. Now, for those who cannot join the teams, you can tell them to join the YouTube. If they're having issues logging in, they can join through the YouTube and they will still access the conference as easily as that. Yes, thank you very much. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. We have powerhouses. We have power lineup of speakers that are here to, communicate their knowledge in the world of tech and AI. So whether you are a teacher, you own an institution of learning, or you're just a tech enthusiast, this is the place you need to be. And you are going to have value for your time. We can assure you, you will have value for your time. All right, I think we are ready to begin the afternoon session on navigating the integration of AI in K-12 schools. Please keep sending the I'm ready, I'm ready. Do not stop. Do not stop sending the I'm ready. You can also use reactions, right? You can react while the speakers are speaking. You can also, we would also be sending in polls. So do not forget the polls. They will appear on your screen. So you fill them out. It will give us details as to where you are in the world of AI. Asking these questions help us, assess where we are generally, right? So are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready for the afternoon session? Yes, we are. All right, sir. We're ready for the afternoon session. Yes, please. We are ready. We're ready. We're ready. Like I said, if you have not followed our social medias, please do well to follow our social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at TETC Media. Right? We talked about the webinars that will be starting, I think, in next month or in a few months. The webinar series will be talking about AI, exploring multiple AI tools, multiple platforms, and showcasing how these tools can be used. Right? So if you're subscribed to our YouTube, you would have access, to these platforms, right? You have access to these conversations and all that, right? So please do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like I said yesterday, we want to hit about 1,000, right? And we are sure that we can hit about 1,000, right? If you are ready, one more time, please say we are ready. We are ready. We are ready. I want to see these conversations happen. We're waiting. We're about 42 on this call. We want more people to join in. Please, if you're on the WhatsApp group, please do well to, type on the WhatsApp group. The afternoon session is live, so that those who went on the break can join in. The afternoon session is live. The afternoon session is live. The afternoon session is live. We are ready to jump in so that we do not miss anything. And also, the recordings from this conference will be shared. Recordings from this conference will be shared. Once they are collated, they will be shared. You will receive a link in your email address for the recording. So that means that even if you missed the conference, I am muted. I'm not muted. If you can hear, I'm not muted. People are responding to. Probably you can't hear me, but I'm not muted. If you can hear me, please say you can hear me. So I'm sure that people can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. So I'm not muted. I'm not muted. So probably you can work on. Thank you, sir. Maybe you can work on your audio to see if it's from your end. But definitely, I am not muted. All right. I think we're ready to begin the panel session. Once Mr. Rotimi is ready, I think he can come on and then. Please keep typing. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Thank you, everyone. It's such a great pleasure to be here. I'll bring all our panelists on the screen now, and you should be able to see them as they come forward. Then I'll introduce them accordingly. This promises to be a wonderful time as we go through a very important topic as part of the panel discussions. We've gone through a lot of sessions prior to now. We just ended 2 sessions where we also had panelists to discuss AI in higher institutions, and now we're focusing on AI in K-12 schools. And I'm privileged to have 3 very wonderful panelists. It's a privilege actually to have them here. Some of them I've worked with very closely. 2 of them I've been friends with for a while, and then one person I just met on one of the groups. And when I introduced this conference, he decided it was a good opportunity for him to come and contribute to the discussions that we're having. So I'll first introduce Isaac Bankole. Isaac Bankole and I go way back. We've worked together in an international school before, and now he's moved on to Ireland, where he works with IBM in Ireland as a support specialist in IBM. Then I have Riaz Sahid, who is also the learning director, technology director in St. Mary's International School. We've been together for I think about 3 to 4 years now. And then we have Tim Evans. He's currently in Spain, but he also works in leadership in technology in American International School in China. So it's a great privilege to have the 3 of you join us, and this is a very important topic that we want to talk about. And so for a start, I would give each one of you, starting with Evans, Tim, 3 minutes to just just say a few things about yourself, and then what your take is in terms of AI in education, and particularly AI in K-12. Tim, you can go ahead.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good afternoon. It's afternoon here in Spain. As you mentioned, I'm based in Guangzhou, the American International School in Guangzhou, where I'm the Learning Technologies and Data Coordinator. Currently, with my wife's family here in Spain, celebrating some football. For me, my passion lies in educational technology. It's how can technology enhance teaching and learning. So I look at artificial intelligence as another piece of technology, and I think we need to remind ourselves of that. It's been a really hectic 18 months when it comes to artificial intelligence, where we do seem to have moved to, we want to try this, let's do this. Where beforehand, we would never do that with technology. We'd always test it, we'd trial it, we'd look at the privacy, the security. So I'm quite passionate about wanting to get back in to that mindset as educators. It is amazing, it is fascinating, it's new, isn't it? So I understand there's an excitement there, but my passion is technology enhancing teaching and learning. So we need to look at artificial intelligence with that lens, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to come and chat with people here, is to see what other people are doing, because it's so new, it's so fluid in the way it's evolving. I'm on summer break, and 6 weeks ago looked different to it when I go back next week, and it's different than what it was 2 months ago, kind of thing. So it's very, very fluid. So I just think we need to have an open mind with it, but not divert from the goal of using technology to support education.
All right, thank you so much, Ken. We'll move on to you, Isaac. Can you go ahead and just say what you think about AI in education, and especially in K-12?
Thank you so much for this great opportunity, and I'm glad to sit together with the great minds, especially in the area of tech and then in education as well. Basically, we are in the realm where we cannot shy away from the technology and the impact in the education. If you look at the trend, for some times, let's say like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, we're talking about cloud, and there were the kind of issues concerning people migrating from the on-premise environment into cloud. But over time, the organization schools have been able to adopt cloud, and then we are now shifting from the cloud. We move from cloud to kind of a big data, and from big data we move to AI. So it is not a matter of if or should I, it's now a matter of adopting AI into whatever we do. So how do we now actually utilize the importance of AI in whatever we do? That should be what we should focus on, and not on whether we should or not. So I will just say that the AI we are talking about is not just something, it's just about the data that we come across every day. And from big data, we move to the realm of AI. And if you are looking at big data, you have to consider the 5 V's. They call it 5 V's of big data. I'm talking about the volume, talking about the larger number of data that we get every day. How they will move to the level of velocity. What is the speed at which this data are being coming up every time? Then we'll move to the variety, different kind of data. It is not the conventional text or structured the data that we have. We have videos, text, audio coming in at different high speed. These are the varieties of data. And they're talking about the veracity. That is the trustworthiness of the data. Are they actually genuine? So we have to look into that, and then also the value of data. So when you are able to get all these things, then you'll be able to know how to apply them in artificial intelligence. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Isaac. Shahid, Riaz, you can go ahead.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, everyone. Good morning from Canada. It's about 6:15 in the morning. First of all, congratulations, Tim, on winning the Euro. That was great. So yeah, well, I'm here on summer vacation, actually, spending time with my family. I work at as Rotimi said, at the Forest City International School in Johor Bahru, Malaysia. And I've been an educational technology specialist for the past, how many? 27 years now. So yeah, and I've been part of starting out as more like a technology specialist and at an international school in Dhaka, Bangladesh, where I actually come from. and from a really ground up position, like fixing or building up the networks and all that. I've been part of the whole transformation from computer labs to mobile laptop cards, and then one-on-one laptops and iPads and all, and the whole shebang of how the learning has transformed over the years um, from a overall perspective to a one-on-one learning and all that comes along with it. As far as the AI is concerned, of course, it's something that has been out there for a while now, not just in education, but overall in anything that is to do or that leverages technology itself. And I think about people started taking notice of it when I think more of when ChatGPT came out about 2 years ago. I think it was towards the end of 2022 or maybe early 2023 when, in fact, one of our English teachers noticed that a couple of his students from China, or basically, students who are from China, were using ChatGPT to do assignments. And so that's really kind of kind of struck the whole chord of well, it's now coming into education now. It was always expected that it's going to come at one point. If you're using Google and tools like Google Workspace or even Microsoft, AI was already there. The machine learning, even in simple tasks like what we do in Gmail and on Google Docs and all that, it was already in there. People were already getting used to the concept of the overall learning or the document sharing platform coming up with machine learning tools or other machine learned tools. So it was already there. And as far as using it in the education, I've always thought that it's almost like embracing it in a way that should be more positive, because 20 years ago, even using laptops in classroom was a big thing.
Yeah.
For a student to bring in a laptop and then learning on his or her own was something that was looked at as disruptive rather than more the things that it could do in terms of enhancing the learning. So that in that perspective, I think embracing AI is something that we need to be more embracing rather than looking at it more at a in a way that that people might feel that we are resisting it. And as with any learning tool or any technology tool, I mean, obviously there has to be a clear guideline. I mean, what is acceptable and what is not unacceptable, and that is something that a conversation that needs to happen between the teachers and the students and parents as well. And I think we are at a crossroad right now, international schools especially, where you have people coming from different backgrounds and different uh, uh, perspectives about how technology should be used in classrooms. I think that's the conversation that needs to take place in a much more structured manner, and instead of sort of putting up a resistance about what it might do as in a way of being a deterrent to learning, how it can enhance the learning. It should be the discussion that should be taking place, and that's exactly where we are, even with our own school. And I think this is one of the platforms here with all of you here that's one of my intended takeaways, that how we can take this conversation further into making sure that we have um, an idea or at least a roadmap on how to implement this in education, especially in a K-12 setting.
All right. Thank you so much. Tim, let me start with you. What are your primary concerns with AI in K to 12? Looking at the fact that we're looking at younger kids and opening them up to this technology. We also know, bearing in mind that some of them already have access to it even before their teacher finds out about it. That's just the way things are with students nowadays. They explore and they get into technology more quicker than their teachers, and most time teachers play catch up. So from your view, what do you think are some of the ethical concerns surrounding K to 12 and the use of AI within K to 12 classrooms?
It's tough. I love what you guys touched there, that we have to look at the positives, isn't it, and how it can enhance learning. but in the background, there are concerns. The top one for me is the security and the privacy. I feel, and again, I want to be positive, but I feel when it came to one-to-one devices and mobile phones, we didn't do enough as educators to support children using mobile phones. We need to learn from that. We need to give them guidance. Again, that expectations, the word used just there, I think is great on how they can use it, what they can do with it, what they should not do with it. And the idea then of how it can make their lives easier, because that's what we want technology to do. We want it to make their lives easier. So there's a concern from a student safety and security perspective, but there's also, and it's not so much a concern, but it's also from the educators. Are our teachers ready to use it, and are they using it correctly? Because I think at the moment there's possibly two ways we can look at using AI to make our lives easier as when it comes to productivity. That's a short win. We can achieve that as educators. And then the second then is looking how it can transform learning. And again, it's that educational perspective. It has to be safe, it has to be secure. Then there's the bias. Okay, what are we listening to? What data is this actually pulling from? Is it perspective from a certain part of the world, from people with a certain belief? Which is okay. However, are the students aware of that then? Are they allowed to critically analyze it? So I think there's lots of concerns. I think as a school, you need to sit down with the people in around the table, be it principals, be it coordinators. We need to look at what we want to achieve by using a specific tool. We don't want it to be the term I use, the Wild West, there with this going on in this classroom, this going on in this classroom. You can quickly lose control of it. But I think, and Isaac mentioned, it's there, it's happening, it's going to, you cannot close the door on it. So I think we need to control it, we need to drive it, and by doing that, you need these conversations around looking at how it can go into some sort of classroom and support. And students need access to it, they need to see it. They'll make mistakes, they always will, but we need to be there to support them, and they need to know if they make a mistake, what can we do? Who can I speak to? How can I react to that then?
All right, thank you, Tim. Tim mentioned something about biases, AI bias. And I think that's a very viable concern too, and the fact that where's the AI pulling its data from? What's the framework that surrounded the training of the AI with those data? Riaz, what can you say about that, and how do you think that can be better handled as it relates to integrating AI into the classroom in a K-12 school?
Well, as far as the concerns are, the learning with AI, the concerns coming from both sides, the teachers and parents, I would imagine. It's number one is the academic integrity. I'll just give the example of I just gave the example of one of our English teachers who ran into this whole shebang of ChatGPT versus Google Bard and all that about like a year and a half ago. And his concern was obviously, what the AI tool can do in terms of helping a student, or rather empowering a student to get into plagiarism or other, easy way of saying it, cheating, for instance. Copy paste is pretty straightforward. You ask a question to a ChatGPT or anything, comes up with an answer, and then you put it back in right in there. So that's one of the main, as far as from an academic perspective, that's one of the concerns. But then to that, my answer is that plagiarism is not a technological issue advancement to do with advancement. Plagiarism has been there for years, even before AI came into picture. So that is a whole different conversation. It is not what has, and what in terms of enhanced technology can do, but it is more to do with how you want to assess, or what kind of assessing tools you have to do that, to rather do a control over the academic integrity part. Data privacy is definitely a concern, especially when we are talking about platforms like Google Gemini, for instance. The common perception about Google is that anything that you put out with Gmail or Google Docs, it's out there in the universe, and that's a genuine concern. And in fact, I don't know if you noticed that Google Workspace recently has come up with some really nice enhancements to their version of what we call the Chat GPTs, the Google Geminis, and there's a clear instruction about what kind of data that you should be putting in terms of using an AI to uh, enhance your both learning and teaching. And again, that is to do with digital citizenship. I think so that's a conversation that has been going on ever since this whole Web 2.0 thing came into learning. So it is all, the concerns, although may sound technological, but they're really not. They're more to do with things that we, as an educator, people have been dealing for ages. And I think the whole idea of having this tool available is to make, the from a perspective of an educator, is to understand that it is to enhance the whole mechanism of learning and teaching, not to just do not just another tool that you can use. I mean, like I said, the whole transformation of learning has been taking place every year. I mean, like I said, a few years ago, using smartphone or even tablets in classrooms for a grade 5 student was unthinkable, but we are doing it now.
Yeah.
And again, and then of course, there's this inaccuracy or the unreliability of the AI information. I mean, AI, of course, works on information that is given to it from all kinds of sources. We talk about things like Wikipedia, for instance. I've seen educators, teachers coming up with talking about issues where students actually refer to or rather even take contents out of Wikipedia and use them. But Wikipedia, just like a Google search engine, it's something that has been put there by people who just go in there and edit, contribute. And so it's again up to the teacher and the student to understand that whenever you're using a tool like that, you need to be making sure that the proper copyright issues or the legal rights issues are mentioned.
All right. So
and then
yeah. We've clearly outlined some of these very valid concerns. So valid as they may be, Isaac, do you think, or what's your opinion? Do you think we should downplay the use and the importance of AI or the possibilities in AI because of these concerns, or we should rather find ways to mitigate, even if it is not totally eliminate this concern, but to mitigate them to a comfortable level where everyone, it's a win-win for everyone? What's your take on that?
Okay, yeah, thanks so much, and thanks team and Rias as well. Please permit me to just share my screen. Something to just share. I will address the concerns first. I'm sure you can see my screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I will address the first one on the, let's say, bias and probably fairness. Now we know that the AI works based on the algorithm, so this has to be, if when you have a concern, these are the things that comes to the mind of the stakeholders when they use the AI. What about the bias, the fairness? And then it reflects different kind of thoughts in our mind. So we need to have that in our mind. Then we look at the privacy. This, we have to be very careful on people who are conscious of the information of their data that is going out. That is one. Then look about data security. How secure is the data? So people are concerned about, okay, this my data, is it actually secure, sensitive data? So is it actually, how are they processing? So people are concerned about the security of the data. What about the students' autonomy? When students have this time, or that they are always on their own. Stakeholders, students, parents are concerned about why is this student can they work on their own? And when they can, because of AI, there is something they call dependence. They tend to depend on the AI than the conventional way of studying. Then we look about the transparency and explainability. So many AI systems are complex. So when there is a reasoning behind, when the reasoning behind the decision is not clear, people will not be able to understand why this information is going out, or not. So when you address this concern, we now have to know how we are able to mitigate this. Now, I said something earlier about how the data comes from a different way. How is the data fed into the algorithm, and at the end of the day transferred to large language model that produces the AI that we use. So each of this process is when we have to address each of these concerns. So in the process of collecting data, every stakeholder, let me say, yeah, the schools, we have to consider what kind of data is being collected. It is not every data that we use that comes to the point of veracity of the data. There are some that are useful or not. If they are useful, it has to be addressed at the point of collecting the data. So when you have a clean, reliable data, these concerns would have been addressed at that point in time. So the point is, we should go back to the point where we collect data. Then we will have the concern addressed. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So in terms of data privacy and fairness, so Tim, what are the things that you think schools, and especially with looking at stakeholders now, what are the things that you think schools can implement and parents can implement in terms of the usage of some of these AI platforms? What are some of the things, guidelines to ensure data privacy? What are some of those guidelines for teachers, for students? What are some of those guidelines?
Yeah, I think it's pretty broad. There's guidance, but then I think as I don't like to call myself it, but as a leader in education technology at my school, it's partly my responsibility and our team to ensure the tools that we put in our educators and our students' hands are secure. And we follow due diligence. We need to ensure that where's this data going, who's accessing it, where is it being housed, and we do this, be it with a platform called Seesaw or Padlet or even Microsoft itself. We're doing that, and it comes back to what I said at the very beginning. It's just another tool. There's the technology of AI, and there's the tool you choose to use. So we do that first. So we're hoping by the time it gets to teachers, there's only then the idea of expectations of use that need to be covered. We are moving slowly at our place with this because, like I said, it's changing monthly. I personally foresee it once the AI comes into the tools we've been using for the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It's integrated in, as it's just come into Microsoft Teams assignments and classwork. Riaz knows it's now in Google Docs, it's in Google Classrooms. They're the tools that our educators are comfortable using, and they have been using them for the past decade. That's where I feel it'll have its biggest impact. I personally don't want to be putting more tools, more logins, more information to teachers who are busy enough as it is. Where I love Magic School, I love School AI, there's Misa, they're all great tools, but they're not truly transforming what a teacher's doing. It is if something adding more to their plate of having to upskill themselves using that tool. Some teachers are doing it. and we understand the idea of innovators and laggards and things like that. So there's teachers who are doing that. But to answer your question, it's we want to ensure that we've done the homework in the background, that those tools are safe, secure, that we understand if there is any bias, which there will always be, but we need to be aware of it. So yeah, to answer that question, we don't like to put that on the educators themselves. Schools, we hope, and districts have teams in place to ensure that the tools that we roll out to educators and students are already secure.
All right, Isaac, if you can please stop sharing your screen. I'd like to talk about strategies to implement. Riaz, as with every technology, you let me give an example. I worked with Isaac at one of the schools that I've worked with. We went from, so there was one term or 1 year that the school had some investment from one of the embassies, and we went from a school with just 2 carts of laptops, of maybe like 24, from 24 to 250 laptops. And then we went from like 24 iPads to 350. So by the time the school was starting, we had one device for every child. But the assessment that term, it was so obvious that everything nosedived. There was no improvement in their performance, because at the end of the day, we realized it was because we handed them tools that we had not prepared in terms of expectations, both from the students and from the teachers. And so that first year was really a disaster. Then by the time we came back the following year, we pulled back those devices, and there were trainings and different structured policies on how these tools will be used and when they will be used. So as with every technology, there has to be stuff like that. So with AI, Riaz, what are some of the things that you think needs to be put in place before at the least AI is rolled out among students? For educators, we can gradually pivot them into it, especially like Tim said, there's the immediate win is the productivity aspect of it. So in pushing this to students, what are the things that you think needs to be placed first?
Well, it's a, first of all, I think it's an ongoing. It's a with AI especially, I believe it's a work in progress. You can't really come something that you sort of decide one day and then have it uh, go through throughout the year. But I think the whole concept of reinforcing the idea of digital citizenship, both within the students as well as educators, is very, very important. And I think every school uh, these days should have, or at least has, a acceptable use policy in terms of how technology should be used in classrooms, both by teachers and students. And I think that's one way to start, is that we again, following a conversation on what is acceptable and what is not, something that has to be very clearly sort of defined. I can share one screen if you guys allow me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, this is just um, excuse me. Let me see if I haven't really used Teams very much. So let me just see if I can get. Hold on. See if I can get it up. Okay. All right. I think. Okay.
All right. Oh, your screen is up now.
I think I've got it.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
You can? Okay, great. So as you can see right up here, uh, this is a presentation that I did with mostly with students as well as a few teachers. that the conversation basically, what are acceptable uses of AI when writing a paper? And you can see that there are different, sort of questions that were asked, like, is using AI to brainstorm ideas for the paper acceptable or not? Or in terms of unacceptability, can you just simply ask AI to do a stuff for you and then put it back into your assignment? So this is a conversation, I think, that should take place with both the stakeholders. I'm talking about students and teachers, before you actually implement any kind of policy, and then put it together in a kind of an acceptable use policy with all that we use to leverage the technological tools that we have. I think in terms of tools, and I keep going back to Google Workspace because uh, not only because we use it, but I find that they have been very methodical in terms of what the whole AI um, should be doing in education. And if you look at the whole evolution of the Google Gemini, you'll see that to start with, it was not available in the education version of Google. And very recently, in fact, I think only a couple of weeks ago, that they have done some enhancements, not just in terms of features, but also in terms of privacy and security of the data. And so that is, again, I go back, and it's a cyclic thing, that you go back to your use policy and see what is acceptable, and again make sure that everything is followed according to that guideline. Of course, we'll have that odd situation where you might find that you know some of the clauses may be compromised, but that is something that we as a educational technologist or as an educator have to deal with, have been dealing with ever since. So as I said, that to start with, that it's an ongoing thing, and I don't think just being airtight about it will help. Obviously, in terms of you know uh, a lot of flexibility and adaptability will require, and I think uh, with the right kind of approach, especially as far as the uh, citizenship of the digital world is concerned, I think we should be able to deal with that.
All right,
I
thank you
don't know
so
whether
much.
that answers the question.
Yeah, that's fine. That covers pretty much everything. So, Isaac, how do you then think schools should prepare teachers for the use of AI? Um, if you can.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thanks. So, the first thing I'll talk about is to focus on the AI literacy. Teach students the fundamentals of AI, even including the underlying technology, the machine learning, the natural language processing. Then explore some impacts of the AI and then discuss the ethical issues that we mentioned earlier. And number two, I would say leverage AI on personalized learning. We talked about that earlier as well, I think in the previous part. Let us utilize AI-powered tutors to provide students with individual feedback and support. Then there is something they call adaptive learning. I think I worked on that in my project. There is something they call adaptive personalized learning. So you adapt to the learning pattern of the students. Then I also mentioned about creativity, because we are now at the point where AI, you can just go on and get whatever you want to want. But we need to encourage creativity from students, especially when it comes to the issue of writing. So it's not about go and bring answers, but allow the student to be creative. Maybe we have to change the way we ask questions. Then that will really encourage critical thinking from the student as well, and the ability to solve different issues. So challenge students to analyze and evaluate even the output from the AI. So allow the student to do critical thinking, and then that will really help, to allow the students to incorporate the AI into their learning, and it will also help the teachers as well to work with the students based on the existing technology. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Isaac. Tim, I go back to you in terms of Isaac mentioned something about AI literacy. How do you think we can effectively adopt those in schools so that, because I think it's very important that students, we provide this level of literacy to students. One, because these tools are out there. The industry that we're preparing the student for, these are things that are integrated into every aspect of those industry. And one might be right to say these are things that are driving advancement in those industries. So with that in mind, how do you think we should handle AI literacy in terms of getting the student ready? I don't think it would be wise for us to shield them because of the downside. And then the tool that they will be needing for the careers and the future that they aspire, we already denied them access to learning and acquiring the relevant skills to be able to wield those tools properly in a more responsible way. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think, well, first of all, it's refreshing to hear Isaac talk about AI literacy, and then Riaz talked about digital citizenship, and it's kind of now becoming another facet of digital citizenship. I do sometimes think we feel, I'll call them kids, students, will just pick something up or they'll learn something, when in fact we need to explicitly teach them. We need to I'm thinking definitely in elementary school, the vocabulary around it. Do they actually know what AI is? Okay, I would challenge the majority of young children have heard of it, probably are using it, but they don't know what it is. How is this working? Well, we need to explicitly teach them. And by doing that, there's opportunity then to show them the pitfalls of this technology, but also really highlight and champion how this can support us. It won't just happen. As leaders in school, we need to find time for this. It won't just happen. And we may have one teacher who's just doing it because they have a personal interest in the technology, but we need to find a specific time. My wife's a kindergarten teacher, and I always try and put her hat on in the sense of her bucket's so full. Well, if I'm just going to now throw AI literacy into that bucket, something's going to give. Yeah. So we need to find either something to pull out of that bucket, or we need to support her. And there's the idea of assemblies. There's the idea of days, AI days. I'm not a massive fan of digital citizenship week because sometimes we forget it for 51 weeks of the year. But if the opportunity for that to be part of a scope and sequence, almost a celebratory, but the idea of assemblies, do you have innovation coaches, do you have digital leaders who can pull 2 classes together once every month, every 2 months, just to have that conversation? Because we explicitly need to tell children what a large language model is. We need to tell them and show them where there is potential bias in what you're currently reading, because and educators, I'm not just saying students, we need to possibly speak to the educators and the adults in our communities as well, including parents. But I do think it needs to be strategic. Okay, it's a word that's thrown around, but by that I mean it needs to be planned, it needs to be scheduled, it needs to have the voice of the numerous stakeholders for it to have value. Okay, we sat down with students and our student council, and I went into the meeting with them thinking it was going to be around academic integrity, around cheating kind of thing, but it wasn't. It was almost like a 15-year-old student told me, show us how to use it, tell me how I can use it. It was refreshing again for me to see that they just want guidance. They want to be shown how it can support them. Where we do come at it with a negative lens, I think it's in our culture, isn't it? It's our society now. We do look for the bad in things, where students don't. They look to it, to how they can embrace it, kind of thing. So I think we need to leverage that. But the way they just said to us, myself and the innovation coaches met with 10 students, and it was like, how can I use it? How can it help me? How can this kind of thing, rather than how are you checking if we're cheating, kind of thing. So I do think it's a big conversation for everyone that's in the community.
All right, so that's very informative. So in terms of literacy, we both agree that we have to have some sort of literacy amongst both students and teachers. Now, how do we bring in, because those are not just the two stakeholders we have in education. There's the teachers, there's student, and the parents, and then the school authority. How can we create a consensus, a buy-in into this from all stakeholders? It's easy for the students to buy into it because, of course, it aids them. You can say that also for the teachers because in terms of the easy win, which is productivity, they can buy into. But how do we address the parent component of AI use, especially among the younger kids? Because, like we mentioned earlier, these are valid concerns. Privacy. What is my child doing on it when nobody's watching? Are there platforms that provides that secure environment where content are well curated for the student to engage in, and they cannot veer off to do something else? So I think that's one area that we should look into. And Riz, what do you think? How do we bring all the stakeholders on board and have that conversation?
Well, I think the key is collaboration and continuous learning. AI in education is we have to understand that it's a collaborative effort with anything as you bring in when you're trying to enhance the learning and teaching concept. And I think as IT professionals and educators and administrators must work hand in hand to create a seamless and enriching experience. It's a journey of constant learning, adapting, and evolving. And for you touch base on how educators can be empowered, and I think it should be treated as something part of a continuous professional development. Embrace it as a continuous learning, and keep, and of course the key will be to staying at the forefront of this whole change that is taking place. I think as administrators and also as one of the key players in this whole collaboration, I think we should encourage, or teachers or professionals should be encouraged to seek out professional opportunities for networking, knowledge exchange, and webinars like this always helps to bring in ideas and again share them. And with with anything that takes place in terms of teaching and learning with a student, the parent has to be bought in. And again, like I said, the whole idea of collaborative process probably it has never been more important when we talk about AI in education. And one of the things that the pandemic has showed us that what technology can do for as far as unsupervised learning or supervised learning is concerned. And I think that was a good window for parents to understand the role of a teacher in a classroom when assessing or supervising a student. And so I think that is something that we should be using as something to build upon. Parents played a big role in during the time when schools were out, home learning was was the key. They did at least they were given that whole window of understanding what it takes to be, or how a student can be helped using technology in enhancing the learning. So I think it's collaboration. It's collaboration is the key to the whole thing. I mean, we have to understand that this is not just about embracing it. It's how it should be used to shape the future of learning. So every stakeholder responsible in this whole setup has to play a part.
All right. So if I'm getting this conversation correctly, we're looking at in terms of AI literacy, we're looking also at what one would call modeling the right use of AI. And what do you think with a partnership between the schools, the parents, and the teachers, properly modeling the use of these tools so that what is done at school is consistent with what is done at home, and every stakeholder that have some sort of authority over a child are literally saying the same thing in terms of the use of AI. And I think that also brings to mind the fact that then parents also have to be literate, because you can't model what you also cannot use. So I think I would have to ask Isaac, how do you think all of these stakeholders can be can partake in some sort of AI literacy too? Because if they are going to model something, they also need to learn how to use it. So should the schools handle some sort of sessions for parents and for students and for students and for teachers, or what other alternatives do we have? Isaac.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks so much. I first have to agree with Riaz on the collaboration. Yeah. You see, we have in school, stakeholders involved: the students, the parents, the administrators, and also the teachers. Now, for teachers, the schools need to provide kind of a training on the AI application, the potential benefits, the drawbacks, how it could be used effectively, then create pilot program to encourage the teacher to participate in using the AI tools. Then also you need to engage the students, like we mentioned earlier, and the literacy, like Tim said earlier. The students need to know what they're actually using. Yes, they use the tool, but they don't know much about the AI. So there is a need for that proper literacy, and especially as it relates to the curriculum. Then have this kind of interactive activities with students. You'll be able to know the level of their knowledge on the tool they are using. Then encourage the students' feedback. Like, let's hear from them what they feel about the tool. Then let's talk about the parents. You know, of course, as we mentioned earlier, you need to organize workshop in explaining how AI is used. It's a new technology to most parents, so you need to organize workshop on how AI is used in classroom, its impact in the learning. Then also about data privacy, which every parent is concerned about. Encourage open communication among parents. Let them talk. Let them hear their voices, and engage them in the parent as well. Let them be involved in what you are doing. Then for school leaders, there is a need for this assessment of the tool that is being used. Yes, it has been rolled out. Do we know how far is how far we are doing about it? Conduct a thorough assessment of the technology. Then there should be policies. The school needs to create kind of policies that we establish clear guidelines on the ethical use of the tool. Then with the ongoing evaluation, like, you know, in the software development life cycle. So as you roll it out, you get feedback, you go back to development and re-implement. So over time, it helps to provide a very viable and a useful tool for the school. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think, Tim, let me throw this to you. At your school, what are some of the things that you guys are putting in place to guide AI rollout, especially as it relates to parents, students? What are some of those things, if you can speak to those?
Yeah, we're still on that journey, and I envisage we will be for a few years. But to begin with, we adapted some of our current policies. So we looked at academic integrity, we look at student code of conduct, we looked at child protection, and then we actually created a individual artificial intelligence policy. That policy looks at what expectations of administrators to begin with, then educators, and then students with a touch of parents in there. So we took our time with that. We involved innovation teams, IT teams, student council, and our parent groups whilst drafting that document, and it went through everyone, and then it went up to SLT. So that was drafted and then published at the beginning of this calendar year. I apologize, in the spring European time, and that we then used as a foundation to put together some guidelines for, again, students and educators. The idea of policy, and we all work in areas where we do see policy. Policy sometimes doesn't get actually read by the majority, and I say that. However, it's the rock, it's the foundation that we always revert to. What we did is we spent most of our time on guidelines, and we called it a playbook. So we've put together, and I'll happily share this in the link, a playbook for students, because through those conversations of drafting policy, students just wanted to know, what can I do and what can I use? We used artificial intelligence to support us creating that playbook. We put it in their language. It's easier for them to digest. There's pages on specifically how do I cite AI. They just wanted to know, I'm using it, how do I cite it? There's bias, integrity, privacy, security. So it's around those kind of themes for students to use as a playbook. And the playbook's been in kind of like beta version, if you want to call that, for the past 2 months. And we're leveraging the break in the school year to have a bigger launch in the summer, as we know things are better done at the beginning of the year. So we took advantage of the last few months to draft, to play around with it. And when we return in August, we're going to have more. It's going to be part of induction. It's going to be part of orientation for educators, for students. Later in the fall, we're having parents in to discuss with them. I do feel 99.99% of parents support us. They just want to know. They trust what we're doing, kind of thing. So we're just keeping them in the loop. We haven't really had too much feedback from parents that has actually changed our strategic plan. If any feedback. It's all been thank you for just letting us know, kind of thing. I mentioned, and I will repeat this, I apologize, that it needs to support a student's experience and journey in school, and that's what we're looking at. That's what we want it to do. I'm a big believer that artificial intelligence should support teaching and learning and not skip it. Where there is an inclination to do that, where we don't want to enable that, I'm just going to use this and then get to here. Okay. My background is MYP design teacher, and it's that design cycle is amazing. I bring it into my personal life, the idea of investigating, researching, planning, drafting, and all that kind of stuff. And Isaac touched on the creativity standpoint. As a parent, it worries me. Like, will my young daughter's 5, in 15, 20 years, we need to learn to play the piano? Will we need to learn Chinese or French? All these things, which are great memories of mine in the past, painting, drawing, will there still be not so much the need for it, but the passion for it? So I think creativity, we've been talking to Ken Robinson, said the creative mindset's possibly 30 years ago, and we're still in the same position. But it's so important now more than ever that we encourage kids to create. And from a digital point of view, podcasts, vlogs, graphics, Canva now is available. How can we just get students creating, kind of thing, using technology? AI supports, it does, but we don't want it to skip the learning journey. Otherwise, what's the point of school?
Thank you so much. You mentioned something that is really very critical, and that was that you don't think we shouldn't use AI to skip learning, but it should be used to enhance and facilitate learning. Riz, if I can ask you, so what are the ways that you think we can, and that will tie into the next conversation, which is about assessment. So what are the way we can ensure that students using AI are not skipping learning? And how do we assess learning that is AI driven? Because like we all have agreed, these are tools that have come to stay. The industry that the students are going into are probably being driven by these tools. So we will not be pulling them away from it. But how do we ensure that the students are learning, and how do you think those learning can be properly assessed?
Well, first of all, the whole idea of not resisting it, I mean, that has to come from an educator, not resisting the whole concept of AI in education. Because, it is here to stay. It is something that we can, whether you use it in education or not, AI is already out there. Students, who are barely in middle school use AI apps on their phones to turn videos into something that we have never seen. I mean, I remember like 2 years ago, my daughter did a video of me, in fact, singing as Elvis, and so it was already out there. So one of the things that we can do is that have not only just the conversation, but encourage students to sort of explore the whole universe, and there are tools to do that. What is actually more important at this point is that I think, as instead of using it as a uh, as as something outside the periphery of education, is to bring it in. And then, one example that I can give, a few months ago, that I was actually reading in one of the blogs of a teacher from another national school, probably in Europe somewhere, where she used this whole, whether it was Chat GPT or Google Gemini, she used more, she actually encouraged her students to use it more like a robot friend to have a conversation throughout a whole, a whole unit of, I think, discussion about Columbus or something, and ask it questions, and then take those answers, and then have that discussion among within the group of students, different, short, small groups, and then come up with an answer that she would want them to write in an assignment. So what in that particular case, what the AI did, it basically worked as a companion to help a discussion grow, but not necessarily, use the whole AI tool to just write an assignment on something. So I think that is, and I like that concept, that instead of just, asking students to just use it, or rather, take whatever help that they can, rather than you use it as a more like a companion to help brainstorm. So I really like that example, and I think that is one aspect of it that educators should be taking into consideration, rather than uh, just sort of throwing it out.
Yeah.
And again,
Okay.
yeah,
Go ahead.
and with and I keep going back to that old conversation about Google Gemini, and I don't know if you guys have seen this. So the last, I think, couple of weeks ago, that they came up with this really nice features of Google Gemini, where it's not really a question of having a tool like that, but it's more like a platform where, almost like, you design something on Canva, that you throw out an idea, it comes back to you with an answer, allows you to question it back again, and then so it's it's really a broad conversation. It really kind of pinpoint on something like that.
All right.
It is here, yeah.
So, in terms of, we were talking about assessment, and I think one of the things that I strongly believe is, I said it earlier in the last panel, that this is not the first time we're facing this kind of issues. When calculators came in, we probably had this same conversation, that students will get answers so easily using the calculator, and as educators, we we moved from looking at the final result. We started looking at the steps to arrive at those results. And I think there has to be some sort of shift in that direction too with AI, such that we don't assess the product, we look at the process. I saw an example online of a lecturer, the higher education lecturer who had the students go and write a paper and give them access, free reign to use AI. And when they brought the paper in, he says to them, I'm going to give you a C on this paper. But if you sit down in my class and you critique that work and then you rewrite it, then you'll be qualified to get a B or an A based on what you did. So it's flipping everything to let AI do some work, and then the students begin to critique the work and better the output. And I think these are ways that we can also pivot and get to be able to assess learning and not make the students keep learning. So, Isaac, is there any other idea that you think we can leverage on as educators or as even parents to make sure that while we open these students to this tool, they are also able to yeah. So AI, go ahead, Isaac. You're muted.
Sorry, Isaac, I can't hear you there. I'm not too sure if you're on mute.
Muted.
Sorry.
You need to unmute yourself.
I think I was muted. Thank you. Sorry for that. I think one of what we can do is this, to realize that, just like I mentioned earlier, AI tool is a software. And I'm sorry if I'm speaking from the side of more of software, more than education. I've been in the software. We design some of the AI tool as well. So what we need to do is that we need to look at the tool. And I mentioned software development lifecycle. Let us look at these students, a kind of a bespoke system. Let us look at the process of learning. Now we go back into the development of that product and keep on readjusting. You are not going to have a final product that's a one for all product. It's going to be constant development. So when you notice that, oh, there should be an improvement in this part of that development, then go back to development, implement it, and roll it out. Get feedback, and then go back again until you are able to get to what you have. Now, it's going to involve all the stakeholders, as we mentioned earlier. The students, we have to work together. The teachers, the parents, and then the administrators need to work together to have that particular product. Now, there is this issue of called fine-tuning. Now, we have different AI tools. I have a patent that you should be able to have the feedback or the result from one AI tool and the other. When you compare using the same prompt, you get different results, right? We should be able to have a model that will, irrespective of the number of the AI tool you use, should be able to give you similar results, right? So this can actually incorporate into school as well, that over time, when you have the improved products, you don't have to start creating new products. You just implement that change into the existing system and you still get the desired result. So you focus more into your development, and you will not have much concern on the result. So if we implement this in the school, it will provide a better result. Thank you.
Tim, let me ask you a question. So there are some very general.
Sorry, I muted.
Oh, sorry. There are some. Tim, let me put this to you. There are some very general purpose AI platform built on large language models like ChatGPT, Gemini, Poe, Perplexity, Claude, and the rest of them. And then there are those that are focused more on education. Case in point, Magic School, School AI, Mizu, Flint, and a plethora of those apps that are targeted towards school with some predefined functionalities. For educators and for schools, which one would you think, and which one do you think, how would you rate both categories of Gen AI, and what are your takes on either using the generalized one or the general purpose ones, or using these ones that are specifically tailored to schools? Tim.
First of all, I was getting flashbacks then with everyone being muted and stuff like that. It's like going back 4 years ago. For me, I think it's and I think Riaz touched on it. It's not, and Isaac did as well. The technology is amazing, but it's how we use it. So there's no issue with artificial intelligence at all. On its own, it's fine. It's safe. It's secure. It's private. It just keeps itself in the corner. But when we start to use it is when we need to see. So the tools you mentioned are all great, and I'm sure they would fit a specific purpose, but the purpose needs to be we're controlling it, kind of thing. We are exploring creating our own tools, and it's a lot easier than you think. There's software out there. There's Write-Sonic, there's Microsoft Copilot, where you input the data, and what we've done is we've created a chatbot, if you want to call it that contains information that we want students to access. Okay, there's no way that they can get off task. So we've put in all the standards, the content from NYP courses into this one chatbot. Some of it is directly pulled from standards, Aero, Common Core standards. And a student can engage with that tool. They can chat to that tool. What that then does is there's no issue of privacy because we house it. There's no issue of what data they're accessing because we're controlling the data they're accessing. And we've done the same with parents when it comes to handbooks. So there's a bot for parents where they can say, what does my child wear for PE? And the information is there. What do they do for lunch? The information is there. Okay, we're trialing them. We're testing one during orientation in a few weeks when it comes to child protection. It's a challenging session at the beginning of the school year, but we're going to see if teachers can engage with it. They can say, I have a child who their mood's changed, and we'll see their dress is looking different than usual, and then there'd be ways that they can use it. So to answer the question, I think that you just need to look at what is the purpose of the technology, what is the outcome you want, and then work backwards. We were put off with paying for a tool last school year because we know people who paid for X tool, and within a month there was a Y tool that was better. And then in 2 weeks' time, X tool updated and then became better again. So we didn't want to get caught in that kind of arms race. You're better doing something than nothing, I believe, especially with this technology. Otherwise, you will be left behind. We've kind of gone down the route of waiting for it to be integrated into the tools we use, which are Canva, Padlet, Seesaw. We're Microsoft. I'm jealous of Riaz and Google, but we're in China. I love Google. But it's coming to those tools even over the summer now. Microsoft has updated Microsoft Teams. Yeah. So we're still staying away from acquiring a third-party tool. And it's nowhere near, its cost is at the very bottom. It's not for us. We're very fortunate when it comes to that. It's actually impact. So we're playing around with that, but there's so many tools out there that I think we need to just do our due diligence and just see whether it's meeting the needs of I know so hands-on later. And we've been looking at Flint, absolutely amazing tool, and it's a great way for that technology to come into the classroom.
All right, so I think you mentioned something that I think is quite amazing, how easy it is to build some of these chatbots yourself and preload it with specific information. That takes care of privacy and bias. And you can also, as a school, put in your bias, for example, into it. So I think is where we can be headed to as individual organizations, schools, where you invest in building your own bots. and putting all your resources together. And I think that's a very good observation and path for schools to take, that you're able to build stuffs around information that you want your students to be able to access. I think in just rounding up this session, I would, starting with Riaz, I'll just give you like 2 minutes to just give a closing remark while we look if there are questions. We'll just take 2 minutes to just do closing remarks as we close out on this session.
Well, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you very much, all of you. It was quite a enriching experience hearing from different perspectives. I think, to conclude, we just have to agree that by leveraging the AI responsibly, in fact, we have the chance to, we are really now at a crossroads, and now we really have the chance to empower the next generation with skills and knowledge that they will need to thrive in this, what we call the ever-changing world. And understanding that it's not just about using the latest and trick or the tool in business, but it's also how we shape the future of learning altogether.
Isaac.
Yeah, thanks so much, everybody. What I would say is this: from this particular general word, I say the heart of the matter is the matter of the heart. Look, we send our children to school to learn. What we want to see eventually is improved child. I don't want to see information or data of my children out there, being used for somewhere. So it's not the duty of every stakeholder. Schools have to come up with policies on how data are generated, analyzed, and are used. Then there should be access to modify, to have control over the data that is being used. And then there should be an expiry time. When you collect a data, there should be a moment where it expires, and you have to ask for that permission to reuse again. That creates a kind of a checkmate. Schools don't have to use public domain tools. Create a bespoke system, an enterprise system that is basically used for that environment. When we do this, we will have remove all manners of concern. Then we'll have tools that we have competence to use at any time that can provide a good result. Thank you.
Tim, you can go ahead.
Not much more to add. We've been discussing, I think, that idea of it don't skip learning. It needs to support what we're currently doing. And the only thing I would add is to really get to know your people, know your students. You can see if students are learning. You can see if students are on track. You can see if they're being academically integrity bound, kind of thing. So we need to get to know our kids. We need to know our students. Don't rush it. Yeah, there is an inclination that people want to just get ahead and use it, kind of thing, but control it while we still can.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to open it up. If we have any question, EDK, do we have questions both online and in the call? We have like 5 minutes more for the session. Do we have any question?
Okay, so there is one question in the Q&A section. Which of the AI tools will you recommend as an additional resources in teaching reading skills to children who are struggling with reading English language, particularly for non-English speaking children?
Okay, so there are a lot of tools out there. Tim, do you have any tool, or Reyes, do you know any tools that can be used to help?
Yeah, I commented on there that first thing I'll say is there are so many tools out there, and I do feel we want the perfect answer, and I just want to put that out there, because we don't want the best resource for teaching English is our teachers. But I know that's patronizing, but we need to leverage that. To give you an answer of a tool we're using, Microsoft Reading Progress now lets you adapt. I love the adaptive personalized learning that Isaac touched on. Adapt the reading to the specific student. So you can use it by leveling. The student can create what they're reading. They can say, I want a story about a lion that lives in the jungle that's sad. And then before you know it, it's written a text for you that's 200 words. So the student then can read it. It will then generate feedback on that child's reading, and they go again, kind of thing. So it's adapting. There are different tools out there. Magic AI has some ways for teachers, and it's hard to get it in the hands of students in a safe and secure manner, but it has ways that teachers can create content and reading passages that adapt and personalize for students.
Thank you.
I think one of the tools Tim just mentioned is listed among the tool that we'll be working on in another session as reading coach for Microsoft. So whoever asks this question can be at that session. You will see practical ways that can be used to enhance reading, both at home as a parent and in school as a teacher.
Sorry. If I'm sorry to say this, if it's something that is affordable, maybe organization forever. IBM has a very good product. That's IBM Watson Next Assistant. It's very good product. It's basically enterprise. Of course, it comes with cost, so you might have to you might want to explore that as well. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. Yes. When are you coming back?
I go back to work on Monday, actually.
Okay.
I fly out the day after tomorrow.
That's
Yeah.
nice. So I'll see you when you get back. Tim, when are you headed back to China?
Yeah, I'm probably be on a plane the same time as Riaz. I'm flying Saturday for a Monday morning meeting new faculty next week, so we'll be onboarding them.
All right, thank you so much. It's such a wonderful time to have you guys here. I appreciate deeply your time and taking the time out to be on this call. I know for years it's probably 6 a.m. when you join this call, and for Tim and Isaac, you guys are in the same time zone with Nigeria, which is quite interesting. So thank you very much. I deeply appreciate this.
I've been watching the Euros in the morning, so it's been fine.
And Tim, are you for Real Madrid? I saw that you guys unveiled Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I am. Yeah, I'm for Real Madrid. It's because my wife's family are all from Real Madrid, and I didn't realize I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, you don't.
But aren't you guys already? I mean, still partying for that whole thing?
They are.
Because
And it was. I don't want to take the conversation, but it was kind of out of the blue. Like 6 weeks ago, they didn't expect it. So
wow,
which made
it even they more. Really played well. It was really beautiful soccer.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. It's such a wonderful time. I really enjoyed myself, and I'm sure that people found this very informative. Do have a wonderful rest of your day, and Tim and Riaz, as you travel, I wish you guys safe trip, and we'll talk more wherever you go. So thank you so much.
Everyone.
Sure.
Thank
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
You.
Yeah. Bye. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your time on this session. We're just going to go into the next session, and in this session, I think I'll be handling. It's going to be a deep dive session. We have one more session after this, and then we'll call it a wrap for the conference. But it's really been very informative, and I appreciate every one of us that have stayed so far. Excuse me. For this next session, we'll look at three different tools that we had started working on two of them yesterday, and I thought we could get back to them and go deeper into how those can be used and when and where we can use those tools. So if you have questions, you can post your questions. I think EDK, I would say you can always interject and say if there are questions, especially questions that are relevant to what I am going through. So if I'm going through a platform and they have questions related to that platform, you can just say there's a question and I'll take that question so that we make it very interactive and we don't eat into the next presenter's time. So
All right, sir.
let me bring up my screen. Sorry, give me a moment. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first tool that we would let me adjust something. The first tool that we'll be looking at now will be Microsoft Reading Coach. I will start with that. Then I will go into Magic AI. There were some steps or some tools in Magic AI that we did not explore yesterday because of the internet, because of the disruption that we had yesterday. So we'll look at Magic School and then look at School AI. There are two things that I wanted us to re-emphasize on from our meeting yesterday. So for Reading Coach, it's free, it's AI driven, and I think Tim mentioned made mention of it during the last session that you can actually use that for reading literacy. So you just go to reading, you just type Reading Coach. It's free. So for schools that have Microsoft Teams as an enterprise platform for your school, this is inbuilt into Microsoft Teams as classes. So as a teacher, you can, if you are using Microsoft Teams, you are able to use all of these tools together with your assignments in Microsoft Teams. So you click on it, it's free, and you can sign up for it. So it says it's available for school. But now I'm just going to create, I'm going to log in with a personal account. I'm sorry, it logged me in. But if you don't have an account, you can create an account. So let me go back and think. Automatically logged in. So you can use any of your email accounts to create account, whether it's Gmail or Google or Yahoo, you can create an account. So you click on reading. So you can use AI to create a story, or you can read from a passage in the library. There are a lot of articles that you can take from, and it gives you reading level. These are called Lexile. 840L means that's the reading level of your students. You can Google, if you know your students, you can Google what does 780 on the Lexia level, what does that mean? So that allows you to know which of these library resources is adequate for your student or for your child as a parent. So you have a lot of resources, non-fiction, fiction. This is basically to get the child to be able to read. And one of the beauty of this platform is it's not just it's multidisciplinary. That means you see things on science, things on, there's even Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie article. So if I click on this, it just opens, and a write-up on her. So you can see a write-up on science on different subjects. The goal of this platform is to guide the children and monitor how they read. So I start with this one, and then it you can get the student, your child or the student, to just start reading. We're looking. We took the write-up from the library. You can also copy and paste an article that you want the child to read. For a teacher that asked the question earlier, if you have vocabularies that you want your children to master, you can go on ChatGPT and feed it the vocabulary and say, write an article and include all of this vocabulary. You can even tell ChatGPT, I want you to write a Paw Patrol story or infuse Paw Patrol. For example, my son likes Paw Patrol. And if I want him to do this, and excuse me, there are some vocabularies he's struggling with, I can get all those vocabulary, put them in a chatbot and ask it to generate an article, and I can give it a tone. I can also give it a theme, a character. And so it generates that article, and then I put it in, and I get the students to begin to read. It's pretty simple. It uses audio. I can now start reading. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie was born on September 15, 1977 in Enugu, Nigeria. I'm going to deliberately make mistakes. From an early age, Chimamanda was avid reader, especially of books written by fellow Nigerian author Chinua Achebe. Despite her early passion for literature, she did not initially want to be a writer. At first, she studied medicine in Nigeria and then decided to move to so I'm going to stop here. Once you do that, I deliberately made some mistake, and immediately it's going to give you pronunciation accuracy. My reading time is 42 seconds. It picked all those words that I made deliberate mistakes on, and it highlighted it. So I can now decide, do I want the child to read again, or do I want that child to practice those vocabularies that he missed? So this gives you that flexibility. So I can ask the child to read again, or I can ask the child to practice. It's going to practice those words. So it's generating, practice this word. So I can say Chinua and Achebe, writer. So I want to practice the words. Sorry. So I'm going to click on this, writer. Writer. We aren't able to tell how you're reading right now. Please try again. So I'll try again. I'm going to click on this and say writer. Yeah, there's a problem, but the child will be able to practice all of those words, and it will tell it if it succeeded or not. When you're ready, press the microphone and read out loud. Early. Early. We can't hear you. Select the device. I think I needed to give it permission uh, I needed to give the browser or the app permission to my voice. So that's why I think it's not picking it up. But that's just an example of what you can do. So the child can keep practicing those words over and over until you as a teacher or you as a parent become satisfied that this child has gotten those vocabularies. So you can use all of those things and put them into the system. So I click on I'm done. It's going to tell you all of those things. If you want to read again, you can read again. So I'll go back. So it puts the book there. It tells me how many minutes more I have to go. This is where you can add your own passage. Like I said, you have an article that you are practicing in the classroom as a teacher. You can copy and paste it here, the title of the article, copy and paste, and it will go through the same process. So you have 5 vocabularies that you are treating in your class. Somebody said clauses or adjectives or verb or specific words that you are treating in your class. You can gather them and curate an article that you are satisfied with and put it here and get your students or your child to read. So these are ways that you can encourage that. Another cool feature of this coach, Microsoft Reading Coach, is you can create a story using AI. So the child can say, oh, I like to learn about lion, and choose the setting. Or it's going to be mountain. And you can choose the level of reading. So let's take level 8. You can see the differences in the level of reading. You've chosen the animal, You've chosen the setting, and then let's look at the differences in level of reading. So you know the level of your child or your student's reading. So if you take level 1, you can say Max is a happy dog. He lives in a cozy house with his owner, Sarah. Max loves to sleep on the rug in the living room and play toys. That's level 1. Let's see how it scales it up for level 2. See, becomes more interactive, more context. There's more context, and the level of reading is also high. Once upon a time, there was a happy dog named Max. He lives in a cozy house with his loving family. Max loved to run around. You see, there's also going to be a difference in level 3. By the time you're getting to level 8, it's more detailed and it's more difficult than that of level 1. So you choose the level of reading, you've selected it. It's going to create that story based on the dog and the settings, and it's creating the story. Give it a few minutes, the story is created, then the child can continue reading. The process that I showed you earlier is the same process. Start reading, and then immediately assesses the level of reading. As the sun began to rise above the mountain, Leona stretched out her legs and yawned. As the leader of our pack, she had to be vigilant and protect them from any danger. I'm going to stop there. So immediately also, it's going to analyze and see all of the words that I didn't get right. And so you can keep doing that as you guide your student or your child into learning how to read. So this coaches them. They are free to choose whichever story that they want. So you can set this up on your phone, so long as your phone has a browser, or on your laptop. So that's just that about leveraging AI to teach literacy, both in school and at home. The next thing I would quickly look into, sorry, somebody sent me a curriculum for me to use, but because of there was no time between transitioning, and it didn't come in during the break, so I will not be able to do that. But maybe in some of the webinar series that we'll be having, we can really look at taking a work plan or a worksheet or a curriculum-based, Nigerian curriculum-based content or lesson plan, and then look at how we can use AI to curate the content and then do the delivery. We'll look at that in subsequent webinar series that we already mentioned will be happening. So I'll go back to School AI. Let me pull up the account I created just for the conference. Sorry, I'll need to move this so that I can. But this is not it. All right, so I'll go back to Magic School, and then I'll go to, say, School AI. Sorry. Okay, let's go to School AI. So with let's see which one is coming up first. Remove this down. Logging in. All right, I wrote some prompts so that we can quickly, rather than waste time typing them in, I'm just going to copy them and paste them. I prepared those prompts earlier. So we looked at Magic School yesterday, and we looked at the tools. But now I want to talk about the chatbots that it has. So some of this program, they already, like I said yesterday, created focused chatbots that you can engage to do whatever you want, rather than go to some other large language model, and you don't have to do a lot of prompt engineering because some of these things are well tailored. So you open Rena Chat for Magic School is an AI instructional coach. So you have a lesson plan. Like, for example, the person that I think, let me just see if we can use that. He sent me, I'm just going to see how I can download that lesson plan. I'll download it now and I'll bring it in. We can use that. So I'll download and then I'll open it for us to see what the lesson plan is. So it's a week 9 lesson plan. Let me open it. Then we can see. So this is the lesson plan. Physics. Okay. So can you all see my screen? So somebody
Yes, we can.
Yes, sir. We
so
can
somebody
see.
sent me this. I think he had asked the question earlier. Learning objective is this, rationale is this. So this is conservation principles, simple harmonic motion, subtopic meaning and definition of terms. So all of this has been built in to this material. So what we're going to do is I'm going to load this material into that chatbot and ask it to build a lesson based on this material. So for some of us that asked question that you use the chat, you used some of the tools yesterday and it gives you resources that don't align. I've said it before that AI just gives you a head start. You still need to provide a pedagogical approach and mind to what AI gives to you. You can supply it with all the resources and then it will do its own magic. So I would pull this out and go back. So I'm going to try to search for, I'll use this example. I'm going to start to upload a Word document. Let's look for that document I just downloaded, week 9 lesson plan. And so, and that lesson plan is, let's say I want to build subtopic. I want to build a lesson plan based on, I'm just going to say create, okay, let's use this with my prompt, speed, acceleration, and energy of a simple harmonic. I'm going to use this with my prompt. So I'll copy this and paste here. All right, let me bring out the prompt that I had prepared for this session. So I prepared this prompt. I say, using chat, create 10 offline and online activities for, let me change it to grade 9, to ninth grade, because this curriculum, this lesson plan is for grade 9, right? SS1. SS1 is grade 9, I think. For a ninth grade student to this one. Sorry. On this subtopic. So what's the subtopic? Let's copy it out. Subtopic. Oh, I think. All right. So I'll just. The topic is simple harmonic. Then the subtopic is meaning and definition. So, so physics. I'm just gonna using chat. Create 10 offline and online activity for grade 9 physics students. For grade 9 students. In a physics class, learning about simple conservation theme. Okay, I'm just going to copy all of this. And let's see what it. So theme is this, topic is this, subtopic is this, and then I hit enter. Let's see what it would generate for me. You see, it's referencing my work, it's pulling it out, arranging it, and then it's presenting all of those things. So it's not looking at, it's referencing all the material that you gave it. And so it has provided offline activities, build a simple pendulum using everyday material and measure it, period. Online activity, watch a simulation of different SMH scenarios. So again, you can then ask it follow-up questions. It will always suggest questions to you, but you can ask it follow-up questions. Could you provide some example of offline and online activity that will help ninth grade students learn about the meaning and definition of simple harmonic? So I can pick this, and then it will provide that. I'll say use create it using a chart, create an outline of it. So I can say put the activities table format. Let's see what it will do. See, it's putting it in a table format. So again, it's very dynamic. You determine what it does to a great extent. And that's why I keep emphasizing the fact that you must know how to engage it. So so this is a good example of getting your resources and putting it so that you are sure that I am the one that provide the resources, and I'm limiting it to providing me content and context within those resources. So if you now want to create a PowerPoint presentation, you can pick all of this content and use it to create a PowerPoint presentation. If you click on action, you'll see translate, question, length, summary, and then you can customize also. Do I want to customize? I want to differentiate it. Now, you can add a prompt. So this same material, let's say I have 3 categories of students, like I gave us an example yesterday. I can call them warm, hot, or cold, fast, slow, walking, crawling, walking, and jumping, just to recognize, just ways to set to differentiate your different kind of students. So you can add a custom prompt, and that prompt, say for example, I have 3 categories of readers or level of students in my class. On this chatbot, I can create a custom post so that every material I generate, I can apply that custom prompt, and it will break it down into those 3 categories. So you can say create a custom prompt. I can say different. So you can now write create 3 different different resources for students in 3 categories. Just like 1 code, for example. So I save this. Every material that I have, I can then apply this custom code. I won't have to do it every time. So you see hot resources, warm resources, cold resources. So this feature is also there for you to use to play around with. So summarize, I can summarize sentence, bullet points, paragraph. Length, I want to make it shorter or longer. Question, I can raise multiple choice questions from this same material. I can say generate multiple choice question. I can apply that custom to this same multiple choice question. I can say from the output above, give me suggestion to differentiate for. I click on. Oh, I didn't ask it. I didn't use that custom code. I think I called it differentiation. Create different resources for the student. So I can change this one to create different questions for student in 3 categories, and it will do that. So you can see question 1, cold questions, warm questions, hot questions, and all of that was based on this lesson plan that you work with. So you can always keep tweaking it until you get what suits you and suits what you want to do in that class. So what you're leveraging on is you're leveraging on a tool that has access to a vast data set of information around any of your topic, but you are specifically telling it what you want it to do and how you want it to do it. So I think so we can play around with this Rena chatbot. You can upload questions, or you can upload PDF, even an image. You can upload an image and ask it to whatever. For example, an art teacher can upload an art work and begin to engage it and come up with activities based on those artwork. A music teacher can do the same thing. So a lot of things can be done with that. So and after you created every of your work, you can always see them here, here, and then you can open them and continue engaging with them from week 1 to week 2. So on this material, we only and then you can copy everything. So I think for that person that asked that question and that sent this might be a guide for you to be able to use this thing. Okay, I think I have 25 more minutes or 20, yeah, that's 20 more minutes. Let's quickly go to, okay, I've talked about reading coach. I've talked about Rena chatbot in Magic School. Now, we were working on School AI yesterday when I had to change computer. So we worked on tools to a great extent, and then we practiced with Sidekick yesterday. But one thing that we did not get to was spaces and how to create a custom space for yourself. But first, and then we didn't do assistant. So first, let's go to assistant. This assistant also does almost the same thing like Rena chatbot, but they have also broken it down into different things. So for example, you want a co-teacher, somebody that, a chatbot that you can brainstorm with to come up with a lesson plan. So you are supplying all the materials, but you are brainstorming to plan your lesson. What we did in Rena just now in Magic School, we can also do here. So it's asking you, help me write an email, let me rethink my class. So you can engage it however you want. Again, you can also upload a file, your device. So I'm going to do the same thing that we did with that lesson plan just now. Where's that document? Okay, lesson plan week 9. You're uploading the file. So I would advise, especially for us back home in Nigeria, we should always get all our materials so that we are able to narrow down those things. We went yesterday and I walked us through Notebook LM, which is also good for you as a teacher. You can get all your resources and put them into Notebook LM and then begin to engage with the chat and with the AI based on those materials. What you've done is you have verified your sources even before presenting it, and you are sure of those materials. And in Notebook LM, the AI will not do anything outside those sources that you have provided for it. So it's really critical. So here I can say, so I'm asking you, let's build a lesson notes from the document. So it's going to also look into the document and then build a lesson note. If you are not satisfied with it, you can keep tweaking it until you are satisfied. Again, you're still the driver in this car. You determine what you give to it, and until you are satisfied, you can keep engaging it. But what it has done, it has given you access to a huge amount of data and also reduced the number of hours you will have spent in doing all of this. So you say, all right, let's create a lesson note from your document. Here is the plan, topic, date, class, learning objective, prescribed result, blah, blah, blah. And then it's just going to create all of that. So you can ask it to suggest class activities. Suggest classroom activity. I can say create an exit ticket. Exit tickets are how you would gauge the students' knowledge or questions that you can use to check whether they understand or their level of understanding at the end of the class. So I asked it to create an exit ticket, and it's creating that. Asking the student, list 3 examples of objects that exhibit simple harmonic motion, just so you can gauge your 1 hour or 45 minutes of working with them. So you have all the flexibilities you want to make use of this tool. Common Core Experts, you want to build a curriculum, you can use the curriculum. You want to plan a field trip, easy grading assessments you want to grade. I can help you grade student essay using a specific rubrics. So all of that opportunity. Research assistant, I'm capable of assisting you with research. What topic are we researching today? So these are just specific purpose built chatbots that you can chat with. I just wanted to highlight this under Magic School. Again, for those of us that didn't join us yesterday, this tool is particularly free for a lot of the features. I've not paid for anyone, and I'm using them. So whatever you want to do at this level, you don't need the paid license. It's free. So if there are questions, please, you can ask your questions. I just wanted to touch on that before I round up this session. So we've talked about, let's go back. We've looked at tools yesterday. We've talked briefly about assistant. And then yesterday we looked at Sidekick. So today I want us to look at spaces. I also mentioned something. If you have a video, you can create an explorer, a video explorer, where you get a video link, put it there, and then tell the AI what you want it to do with that video, and then bring your student on top of aboard. So spaces are special purpose or specific purpose created chat rooms or chatbots where teachers like you also created to engage their students, and they share it. And so you will most likely find something that relates to what you're about to teach. So for example, you're a maths teacher, you can explore under maths, and you see a lot of other maths. So this one is math study session, AP physics study session, AP computer study session. There's Albert Einstein, you want to learn about that. So you can use Discover to search for whatever you want. There's English for
Yes,
someone.
sir.
All right, go ahead.
So sorry, Mr. Raptude have a question that he wants to ask
All right, go ahead.
regarding what you have said. Mr. Raptude, could you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
All right, please go ahead and ask your question while you can unmute yourself and ask your question. All right, while he's still unmuting himself so that we don't eat too much into our time, you can select any one of these, and then you can also.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. My question is to find out about you just mentioned one AI tool where you can use the video link to upload and ask the AI to tell you whatever you want to use with the link. Can you quickly brush up again?
Link. Can you come again? Sorry, I didn't get that.
You mentioned something about uploading a video link and then ask the AI to do whatever you want to do with it.
Okay, so all of the tools we've reviewed starting yesterday can do that. You can watch the video from yesterday, but I'll just give you a quick example using this.
Okay.
Let's look at tools. Let's look at here. You can see. Okay, let me go to Magic School. Magic School will be quick to do that. So I'll go to, you can find, let me look for YouTube. All right, so YouTube video summarizes YouTube video question. So if I open this one that I want to use it just tells me, and then I get my YouTube link. I change, this is a grade 8 student. I want to generate question, multiple choice, number of question is 3. I just get the YouTube link, put it there, and then it generates. if you want lesson plan, you can also look for that makes lesson plan from YouTube. This will summarize a YouTube video for you. But the tools that we practiced yesterday, Defeat, Brisk, we did Magic Tools, we did School AI, all of those would allow you work with
Okay.
YouTube. So you can watch yesterday's video. Now let's go back to
Okay, sir. Okay,
spaces.
sir. So
Go
we
ahead.
also have Adebowale. Adebowale, could you please ask your question?
Good
Thank you very
afternoon.
much.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate your effort. Please, I have
Adebowale.
I have 3 questions. The first one is this: can we use this application or platform to design instructional course for higher institution students?
Okay.
2, is there any features on this platform that could be used for hotspots when you are designing your course?
What do you mean by hotspot?
3,
Sorry, I don't understand hotspots.
that when you hover your cursor on material, text material or image material, that it will prompt up additional message or additional information that you will now read.
Okay.
Maybe I have a triangle that I've drawn, then I've put maybe a hotspot on it. When I hover or when I place my cursor on the apex of the triangle, it will bring out information that, okay, this is the apex, and
Okay.
then
No.
this is the
No.
side by hotspot.
Okay, so that
Sorry,
second
like
question,
what?
that second question, I think it's a no. I haven't seen any AI tool that does that, because that means none of this platform does that, because that means you are building some things. This just helps you in providing content for you. So for the first question,
Okay, then the last one.
okay, last one. So go ahead.
Is there any feature on this platform that could be used to create games if one is working towards game-based learning?
Okay, so I think I have.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's take the next question. The other person. There was a lady that spoke up.
Elizabeth, please, Elizabeth, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon. Well done, sir. This is deep. This is good. This is encouraging for someone like us that actually we use AI in class and all that. This is eye-opening. I have come across lots of other AI I could use. So I just want to say well done, sir. My battery is low, so I could go offline anytime.
All right.
So I just want to say well done, sir. And please, you are doing a good job. And is there any way we can actually involve more teachers, Because when you talk about AI, some people will be looking at you like, oh, what is she saying? If you say I can do this, I can do that. Some
Okay.
people they just want to do it the old way.
Okay.
Is there any way we can encourage more teachers to go into this AI stuff and all that?
All right. Thank you so much for that. We have a WhatsApp platform, we have a Facebook group, but you can always join. But what we're also doing is every month, I'll announce that at the end of the session. Every month, there's going to be a webinar series where we keep this conversation going, and it starts from next month. In the WhatsApp group, you can always bring as many teachers as possible. This is just to really impact teachers to a great extent. So we will continue doing this. If you have teacher friends, you can bring them into the group, and we can keep the conversation going. So that I don't digress, and I have 5 more minutes because the next presenter will be here any moment from now. I think for the lecturer that I mentioned for higher institution, this particular tool is tailored for K-12 school, secondary and primary school. But I did mention about Notebook LM yesterday. I was trying to open it before a question came in. So for Notebook LM, you can bring all your resources together and put them and create notebooks. And then you are able to, let me just pull up one that is from my own account. So you can see I have all of this. I have all my, maybe not this one. I have, let me put this one. I have all my resources. You pull them in, you can add more resources, and whatever you add will not add resources, PDF, text file, copied file, URL. When you add it, anything you are now doing within this notebook, the AI only references those materials. So you can build it and then eventually share your final results with people or whatever. So this is also good for research and all of that. So I think that's one thing that you should note in terms of higher education. So because of our time, I'll just look at creating spaces. So for spaces, like I said, you discover, you find one that is suiting for you. Let's take, for example, this English teacher. He says, English tutor, a personalized, engaging, and interactive learning K-12. This space is designed to provide one-on-one tutoring in English. So you pick this one as it has been created as a base, but you now, under more option, you can now give it specific detail and tailor it for your staff, for your class, and then put audience description, session instruction. Is an English tutor covering grammar, literature, writing, reading comprehension. That's what it does. But you want to teach adjectives to grade 5. You can define the audience that this is a grade 5 class. We're working on adjectives, and these are my instructions. You preview it, you test it, and then you launch it like we did. It will give you a URL. You send it to your students, both at home and in school. They can engage, and it creates, you have a dashboard, and you can work with that. So that's spaces. Then you can also create your own space. It's so simple, it's the same process. You give it a title, you tell it, actually for this task, I had actually created one that I wrote out. And again, if you don't know the prompt, if you don't know how to write the prompt, you can just write what you want. So this is what I want. I just copied it and posted it into ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, you need to set up an AI assistant to take the role of Wole Soyinka, the great Nigerian Nobel laureate winner. Grade 7 literature student will engage with the AI assistant to learn about life of Wole Soyinka, his work, idea. And then ChatGPT generated a whole lot of content for me on that. And then I use that. I can now use that to create the chatbot. And this is an example of it, it can give me all of those details, and then I can keep tweaking it until I'm satisfied. I create the chatbot. I can upload the picture of Wole Soyinka or generate an AI image. Then I test it, launch it, and send it to my student. So these are all of the opportunities that some of this app has. We're going to move into the next session now. And I think Sohan should be on the call already. So I will just, let's see. We'll just watch a video about Sohan.
Sohan Chowdhury is the co-founder and CEO of Flint, an AI platform for schools. Top private schools in the US as well as international schools across the world use Flint to provide students with one-to-one AI tutoring. Before founding Flint, Sohan built and sold a video chat company and studied computer science at Georgia Tech. TETC. Together, let's welcome Sohan Chowdhury.
Hello, Sohan. How are you? Hi. Let me bring you
Doing well.
on. Maybe before you share your screen, can you come on and turn on your camera so that everyone can see you? And let me stop sharing my screen. I think I should. All right. So everyone meet Sohan. It's great to have you here. He's the CEO of Flint, and so we're delighted to have you here. Can you all hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yes, sir, we can hear you. We can
Okay,
hear you.
because I think my camera is
Yeah.
quite frozen.
Yeah.
All right, so I will be handling a session on AI, personalization over standardization, sorry. And he'll be doing a deep dive, showing us the Flint platform. I think we've gotten a lot of feedback, and coincidentally, I had a K-12 panel earlier, and one of the panelists spoke highly of Flint. So I think it's a good way to cue you into the into it. So we hope to see the platform, and we hope for you to run us through how it can be used. So you have the floor. Go ahead. You can share your screen. I'll get out of your way.
Of course. Yeah, no, thank you so much for that introduction. And that video was super neat as well. And glad to hear that the panelists had mentioned Flint. I actually didn't know about that, so that's a nice surprise. Yeah, so hey everyone, my name's Sohan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Flint. And Flint is an AI tutoring platform that has been designed for schools. So I'll show you what that means, and I'll show you also a journey of how our company, we're a relatively young company, we've been around for around 14 months now, has gone from a very small startup to a slightly less small startup now, and how we've kind of focused on AI tutoring as the main use case that AI can be used in the classroom to really help students. So I'll be giving like a quick presentation, just kind of covering our company history and our philosophy of AI in education. And then I will go ahead and show you all a demonstration of Flint and explain how you can also request a free trial and start using the platform if you're an individual teacher, or even use it for your school if that's something you're interested in. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to set up a presentation, and I'm going to go ahead and start that slideshow. Just give me 1 second to get that started. Oh, actually, I think I might need to confirm my sharing settings real quick. So sorry about this. I will quit and rejoin in just 1 second.
Okay. Okay, while we wait, can you all hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, let's wait for Sohan to get back.
Sohan. Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, while I think, okay,
Sure.
Sohan, are you back? Let me see. Okay, he's not back yet. But while we wait for him, I'll just use that opportunity to highlight a few things that will be coming up. And I think against the backdrop of what one of the
Sure.
participants said. So every month starting August, we'll be having a Teach with Tech series. It's going to be webinar between 1.5 hours to 2 hours max webinar, and it's going to really be hands-on. In all of these webinar series will be bringing in educators also that would walk us through practical ways. And one of the things we'll also be doing, like we did earlier, is to take our local curriculum and see how we can leverage AI practically to use them and to use it in whatever we're doing. So this will happen every month starting August. We'll try to look at fixing it on a Saturday when we all are much more free. I know also that because of the timing of this conference, we had wanted it to be during holiday. We thought it was going to fall within the holidays, but the changes in time calendar affected it. So, but the one coming up, there's going to be this same conference sometime next year. It's going to be yearly, and we'll work with the community that we'll have built, and we'll all decide when is the best time, and we'll plan towards it. So at the end of the conference, the WhatsApp group is going to transition fully into a community of teachers. Our vision is to build a platform where teachers learn from teachers, and we're able to provide access to some of these trainings for free and take it gradually. Just like Sohana said, for your schools, you can request free trial. They will provide free trial for you. He's going to guide us on how to do that. Let's see if he's back. Okay, yeah. Sohan is back. All right, so take it on.
Yeah, looks like my screen share is now working.
Yeah, it is.
If there's any issue, just give me a heads up, let me know. But yeah, like I mentioned, I'm just gonna be walking you all through a brief history of our company, how we've kind of developed this philosophy of what is like the best application of AI within education. And I'll show you a walkthrough of how Flint works and how you can get started as well. So we believe strongly that AI tutoring can enhance teaching and learning at all levels of students, whether they're for elementary school students that are as young as 7 or 8 years old, or even up to college students. But AI in education, as you all have probably realized throughout the course of this conference, is a very broad topic. There's a lot of different applications of it and a lot of different tools out there. And although Flint today is really focused on AI tutoring, so letting students use AI for extra help, letting teachers give their students extra help with AI, that's not actually where we started. We started in a very different area. So this is what Flint looked like a year ago. It's very similar to some other tools like you may have heard, like Magic School. At that time, around May of last year, Flint was focused on letting teachers make activities, worksheets, and quizzes with AI. Basically, our thought was AI, like ChatGPT, is really good at making content, like writing papers or writing emails. What if we let teachers use that to easily make content for their students? And we worked on this product for a few months. But basically, what we realized is we were reinforcing pre-existing problems in education. Because if you think about it, this is how the worksheet experience today looks like when a teacher goes and makes a worksheet, either manually or using AI for their students. They will give the students all the worksheet and they'll say, hey, class, everyone go ahead and do this worksheet. Maybe the teacher wants to give the students extra practice, or they just want to see how everyone's doing very quickly. Every student, though, will struggle in a different way. Some students might think that the worksheets are really easy and they'll be blitzing forwards and be bored because they'll finish early. Other students, it might be perfect. And other students might feel like they're falling behind because they don't understand the content. Then teachers have to spend a lot of time grading these worksheets. Unless you move this entirely to an AI system and start trusting AI with grading, which we don't fully recommend, it creates a delay for teachers to have to go and read every single submission. And most importantly, students have to wait a long time as well, because students don't get to immediately see how they did. So as a student, you might struggle on a question and find out 2 days later what the right way to have done it was. With Flint, we're trying to change that process entirely using AI, not to have the AI make the worksheet, but instead to get rid of the worksheet entirely. So with Flint, this is what it looks like, and I'll show you a live demo of this in a moment. The teacher tells the AI, this is what I want to teach. So it says, okay, help my students learn about the causes of climate change, for example. We'll put in like a learning objective. And then the teacher will actually provide the AI with some sort of materials to pull from.
Hello, Sohan. I think we lost you. Hello, Sohan. Are you there? I think we lost him. Sohan, hello. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I think he got cut off. 5 minutes left in this video. Okay, while we wait for him, I'm just going to continue on all our announcements that we were talking about before. So for the tech series, for the Teach with Tech series that we would be starting next month, the first one will be Crafting Effective Prompt, the foundation of AI assisted learning. We'll send out the sign-up forms. The reason why we'll keep insisting we sign up for the webinar is because at the end of every of this series, there's going to be certificates. Now, this is not...
Mr. Rotimi,
yeah.
Sorry. We see, I think Sohan is trying to get you to make him a presenter.
Oh, okay.
On the comments, if you can just look at it.
Comment.
Yeah, he asked if you can add him as a presenter.
Okay. Let me look for him in the. So anyone of okay. All right. This is make presenter. Sorry about that. All right. Hi, Sohan. All right. You're back.
Yeah.
All
I don't
right.
know what's happening there. I think something with
Okay.
the Microsoft Teams. Yeah, but looks like I'm back. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can go ahead.
Awesome. Can the audience see me? Like, am I
Yes,
added as a speaker?
Yes, you're on the screen, so
Okay.
we're all seeing you.
Awesome. What I'll do is I will start my screen share. Yeah, so sorry about this. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. I think I'm having some more issues with let me try leaving and rejoin again. So sorry about this.
Okay. All right, I'll just go on with what I was talking about. So the reason why we are asking people to sign up is because at the end of the day, there will be certificates. But this is not just going to be a webinar series. You would have, at the end of the day, a body of work that you need to do based on what the webinar is about. You will do the work, you submit, you turn in the work, then that's what qualifies you for a certificate. And that we keep doing that, building the community and giving people the opportunity to learn and keep learning and improving themselves. So we also mentioned earlier, we're looking at being able to also build an app for educators by educators. The links will be in the group. You can always sign up for it and be part of the process. We're looking at getting feedback and getting input from people. So I will come back to this later on because this is how we end the session. But let's see if Sohan is back. Okay. So to be here. All right. I'm so sorry about this. I think it's a technology issue with him, but I really wanted this session, and I think it's going to be very informative for us. And the fact that they are also offering us free license. So let's just be patient with them and see how we can go ahead with this. But if you've enjoyed the conference so far, I think we can, in the chat, just begin to make comments. Maybe we start with telling us what you've learned so far and also provide. Okay, Sohan is back. Hi. Unmute yourself.
All right, we're gonna try. Yeah, we're gonna try one more time. I'm really not sure what's happening here.
Or if you would immediately
yeah.
share these slides with me and I can present it from my end.
Or
Okay,
is that
yeah.
showing?
Yeah, I think we're good now. We're good.
Okay. Yeah. If not, yeah, I'll send you the link to the slides. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really not sure what's happening with Microsoft Teams here.
All right.
Yeah. So sorry about that, everyone. And thanks for kind of doing the transition there. Basically, like I was saying, Flint is a tool where instead of using AI to create a worksheet, the teacher's actually telling the AI, this is what I want to teach. And the AI is then learning from the content, any sort of learning objectives the teacher provides to then go and help the students directly. And I think I saw a question in the chat of like, can this be used to teach French language? And yes, Flint can. I'll cover that in just a moment. And I'll show an example of how a French teacher can use this to help their students practice speaking any language. But the high level overview is a teacher can basically put in what they want to teach, maybe give the AI, like a teaching assistant, some materials to pull from, and the AI will then speak directly one-on-one with the student. It can have a verbal conversation in French, Spanish, English, or any other language, or it can be a written conversation. The student can even take pictures of the work and show it to the AI to ask them, hey, how am I doing, or did I get this question right or not? So unlike a worksheet, every student actually benefits from personalized assistance, right? If a student's actually struggling during the assignment, maybe they get the conjugation of a word wrong in French. The AI will actually pause and help them out or correct them before moving on to a more advanced topic. Whereas in a worksheet, they would just get that wrong, maybe find out 2 or 3 days later, oh, this is what I should improve. So you notice the feedback loop with students is much quicker. And for teachers, not only does the AI summarize exactly this is what happened in your class, just like a really good assistant would, the teacher can also see everything that the students do. So in like a world language class, they can actually go and listen to see or listen to hear what did the students say and how do they pronounce the words. So now I'm going to walk you all through a demo of Flint. I'll start with a quick biology example just to show you how the setup works from the teacher side. Then I'll show you what it looks like once students actually complete an assignment so you can see what the teacher would see. And then I'll wrap up by showing a French example, because I know there's a question about that in the chat. And as I'm showing this, feel free to kind of raise your hand or put in other kind of questions in the chat. And once I'm done going through these examples, I'll go ahead and open the chat and I can show other examples that y'all might be curious with as well. So real quick, I'm going to pull up Flint and show you what it looks like to use this tool for like a biology class. Wix gives. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to switch my tab over to here. So now you should be able to see Flint on my screen. For some reason, if it's not showing up in the screen share, just let me know.
We can see it.
Okay, awesome. So to get started as a teacher is really straightforward. If you want to set up your own kind of demo environment, I will share the steps for that at the end of this call. But once you're into Flint, you can just click this button on the top right that says Create Tutor. That's the easiest way to make something yourself. So I'm going to click Create Tutor now, and I'm going to type in what I want to teach. So for example, here, I'm going to say that I want to teach my students about this video on YouTube that I'm now screen sharing. This is a video by Crash Course about photosynthesis. It's a really popular video with over 8 million views, and it covers the basics for biology students of how photosynthesis works, so how plants make energy. I'm going to take the link to this video. I'm going to go back into Flint, and this is optional. You can do this without a source if you wanted to. And I'm going to upload that as a resource for the AI to pull from. Then here in tutoring objective, I'm going to say, quiz my students to see if they understand photosynthesis. And I'm going to make sure that the AI has that link of that video to pull from. Basically, what's going to happen now is the AI will pull from that information, and then it will be able to go through and quiz my students dynamically on whether they've actually watched the video and understand photosynthesis. If I want to, I can also set a grade level difficulty of what language level the AI should use. So let's say I'm going to say 10th grade US as the standard for that. Once I click next, Flint will go through and think of some fun activities that it can use to quiz my students on this topic. So it comes up with a few activities, and I'm going to choose this last one, which is a photosynthesis scientist, where the AI will pretend to be, or the student will pretend to be a scientist and collaborate with an AI tutor to understand photosynthesis. And in this conversation, the AI will be pulling from all this information from the video. So I can select this activity and click next. And in a moment, the AI will go ahead and set this up for me. So right now what it's doing is it's setting up the prompt engineering under the hood for the student to go in and complete this assignment. And now in the middle of my screen, I can actually see what that looks like. So as a student, I can test it out. I can say like, yes, I'm ready to start. And the AI will go ahead and have a back and forth conversation with me. And it will actually ask me questions based on what was covered in the video. If I want to, as a teacher, if I want to see what would happen if a student was really struggling, maybe they're at a D level response, I don't have to guess or pretend to be a struggling student. I can click this D here up in the top right corner in terms of the grade preview. And Flint will automatically show me what would happen if a student is getting questions wrong or they're not really understanding the content properly. So as you can see here, when the student says, hey, I don't remember the steps, I don't know, the AI will continue giving them extra help and guide them through the activity instead of saying, oh, too bad, here's the next question. So that's basically how you can use Flint for this kind of personalized learning support for your students. Once you're happy with what you've made, you can customize everything on the left-hand side, but let's say you're happy with it. I can click Create, and I can go ahead and get an assignment link that I can then send to my students. So in a moment now, I've created this AI tutor. I can get this link, send it to my students, and then they will be able to go through and interact with it. So right now, I'm going to show you what that actually looks like once you have some students interacting with and using this tool. So I'm going to go back out to my school-wide level, and I'm going to find an assignment that I've already made that some of my teammates actually here at the company have gone ahead and made submissions for. So switching gears a little bit, this is a different style of assignment. This is a debate where students are debating against AI about the ethics of AI. So they're saying, is it ethical to use AI for self-driving cars, medicine, therapy, these different applications? I've already made this AI tutor for my students. So in the bottom left-hand side, I can see how they've interacted with it. Here, I can click on one of these submissions. For example, I can click on Z's submission. When I click on it, I can view the full transcript, so I can see exactly what Z said in this conversation. And on the right-hand side, I can go ahead and see exactly what his strengths and areas of improvement were. So the AI will summarize this based on what you put as a learning objective. So if you put that I really want to see how well my students understand the content, or how well they do the debate and use ethos, pathos, logos in their argument. The AI will actually highlight whether they did a good job at those specific skills or not. So for example, here I can click on one of these strengths, and Flint will jump and show me exactly where the student showed that strength. And I can click on one of these areas of improvement, and it will jump and show me exactly where the student had that area of improvement. So as a teacher, it's highlighting for you what are the main takeaways and how each of your students did. And on the left-hand side, under tutor analytics, it'll summarize that at a class-wide level. So let's say you use this tool and you're giving your students some extra practice for a test that's coming up, right? You're almost using it as a review session with AI. You can then go in right before the test and see, all right, what are some of the areas of improvement that I should cover in my last lecture and the review before the test? It looks like my students could further develop their reasoning on ethical principles. If I click on that, I can now see exactly which students struggled with that. And if I click it, it'll actually highlight which of those students need that extra help. So here I can see that this student was struggling and they told the AI, hey, I'm not really sure about which ethical principles to use. So as a teacher, you can basically set up this AI based on any content you have, whether it be a YouTube video or a curriculum or a PowerPoint presentation. The AI will go and have the conversations with the students, and it'll let you know, hey, here's where the student's struggling, here's where students overall are doing. Now that I've kind of shown you the basics of how Flint works from the teacher setup side and what the teacher can see, I'd love to show you all an example of how it can be used in French, because I know there's a question about that in the chat. So right now I'm going to go back out to Flint. And what I did so far was I was creating a tutor from scratch. Another thing you can do is you can just search for other things that other teachers have made and shared with our broad community. Flint is an AI platform used by many of the top private schools here in the United States and many of the top international schools based across the world. If you were at the session around the same time yesterday, you may have heard from 2 administrators and teachers, Liz from Harker, which is one of the top private schools here in California, where I'm based, as well as Kevin from SJ Prep, one of the best schools in Pennsylvania. And a lot of the AI tutors that they've designed with their teachers, they've also chosen to share with the broader community. So I'm going to show you in a moment how that works and how you can use those. When you log on to Flint, you can click the search bar up in the middle, and you can type in any topic that you want to teach or learn. So for example, I can say that I want to teach something in French, and I can see these couple examples. I'm going to select this one, where it says that the student will engage in a role play where they have to practice ordering food in a French restaurant. So you can see that the AI will actually speak to them in French. So if I like the look of this, I can click use this template, and I can select to bring this into my school. So I'm going to select my school and click use this template within my school. Now in a moment, I'll be able to start using this assignment that another teacher's created and that I'm essentially borrowing and remixing from them. You can see that the AI is asking me, hey, what do you want to order in this restaurant? And as a student, I can actually click listen and hear what the AI says. So I'm going to do that now.
Bonjour, bienvenue au restaurant.
So I just clicked listen. Not sure if the audio came through, but the AI was actually speaking to me in French.
It came through.
Awesome. And then now I can go back and have a conversation with it. So I can say, and I'm going to say this in very mediocre French, which is the best French I know. I'm going to say something like, je ne sais pas, je m'appelle Sohan et je voudrais un juste orange, s'il vous plaît. So I'm going to say French, I'm going to say a response in kind of okay French. The AI will take a moment. It'll actually transcribe what I say. So as you can see, it does that basically perfectly. And then it'll respond back to me in French. And what it's doing here is it's actually pulling from items from a French menu that this teacher uploaded when they made this AI tutor that I'm now using. So if I go back into the settings of this AI tutor, I can actually see that. I can see that the teacher actually put in this tutoring objective that students should order food from a restaurant, and they uploaded a menu. And if I go back to this conversation at any point, the teacher can go and actually listen to what the student said. So now let's say I'm a teacher looking at Sohan's submission, I can click the listen on not just what the AI said, but on what the student said. So if I click that, I can play back the student's audio. Je ne sais pas, je m'appelle Sohan. So that's where I can kind of see, okay, how did the student pronounce this? How flawless was their speaking? How fluent did it really sound? And once the student actually submits the session, so in this case, I'm going to go and submit the session. I'll probably get a low grade because I only said one thing. The AI will automatically get to work and start analyzing this session for this teacher and the student. So in up to 2 minutes, it takes usually 1 to 2 minutes, the AI will go through, summarize the entire conversation, let me as a student and the teacher in this case know, how did Sohan do? How good was his speaking skills? Was he able to successfully order food in the restaurant? And there'll even be a space for me as the teacher to go and leave some comments. So maybe as a teacher, I also listened to Sohan's pronunciation and I said, hey, you could really improve how you pronounce juste orange, for example. And I can leave that as a comment for the student to view. Before I move on to any other examples, any questions about this so far? Anyone want to raise their hand or put any questions in the chat? I'll quickly check the chat right now. Awesome. Yeah, I see some positive comments, but yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in there. Yeah, in the absence of any questions, I'll go ahead and continue with this demo and wrap up with a math example to kind of show you how math teachers can also use this tool. But like I was saying, now that the analytics is wrapped up, the AI does give me a summary as a student. So it says, okay, hey, you did a good job. You introduced yourself and made a polite request, but you can really improve on expanding your vocab and sentence structure, right? This is a very simple conversation. So accordingly, it gave me a pretty low grade, in this case of a B, for example. Or actually not too bad in this case. But as a teacher, I can also leave some feedback. So I can say something like, make your pronunciation better if I wanted to. And I can leave that as a comment for the student. So next, I'm going to show you all a quick math example. I'm just going to review the chat as well. I think there's an example for 4th grade math. So what I'll actually start off by showing is a little bit more advanced of an example, something for high school math. And then I'll show an example for 4th grade math to wrap things up, because I think we have the time for it. I also see a question of, does it translate to English? Yes, Flint can translate any of this text to English. Basically, in the settings for this AI tutor, if I go into it, this assignment was purely in French. So the teacher set this to be a French assignment, and they did not set a secondary language. If I went ahead and set a secondary language of English, now the AI can communicate in both French and English with the student. So now if I go in and I say something like, can you translate that for me in English, and send that as a message. Actually, in this case, the AI is still being quite strict because it's being used as an assignment. But if I go ahead and change the settings real quick to make it a little bit more helpful, then it would be able to go through and translate this for me in English. One of the other nice things about Flint that I wasn't able to cover just time-wise today is there is like a universal AI chatbot that any student can use. So any student at any point, if they're really stuck, they can copy this message, they can go into the universal chatbot, and that's located in the main page down here in the bottom right corner, and they can say something, translate this for me into Hindi, for example, or I'll just use English to keep it simple. And the AI will go ahead and give them some hints and translate it for them. And the transcript of what they're doing here is still visible to the school administrator, so they can see what sort of open-ended questions are students asking for this tool. I see a question real quick there about, can this tool be used for advanced learners, for university students? Yeah, that's a great question. It definitely can. Harvard actually did this study where they built a system very similar to Flint around a year ago, basically using GPT-4o with this sort of custom content for tutoring. And they saw that it really helped students at the university level in terms of improving the computer science skills. At Flint, we've basically taken what Harvard learned from that study and turned it into an easy product that you can use without having to have Harvard students that are building engineering tools for you. So it can be used at an engineering level, at a university level. One of our clients is actually the UK Ministry of Defense. They have their translators go into different countries, and they use Flint before they go in and do operations to actually learn about how to speak, in that dialect more naturally. So they use it as a language translation tool. Real quick, I want to show you all an example of how Flint works in math, and then I can answer some of the other questions in the chat as well. So what I'm going to jump to right now is an example of a session I already made, and this is going to be for a high school level math assignment. So here in this AI tutor, I can see that it says this is SAT Math Level 2 Subject Test Practice. So it's a very, very specific test, but you can really put in any worksheet in math and the AI will be able to use that. So it says here that the student will solve challenging SAT math problems and receive detailed explanations for each solution. So this would be like the perfect tool for a student to use if they're practicing for the exam. We can see that the AI actually starts out by saying, hey, welcome to the math challenge. Here's a practice problem. So as a student, I can take that practice problem, I can copy it, and I can use this equation editor down here and actually put that problem back in, maybe make some changes to it, maybe add some equations, use this notation editor, make some changes and show my work and show how I'm working through the problem. Or I can even take a picture of my work. So in this case, I actually click the camera button down here that says take a photo. And I held up a notebook that I don't have right now with me, but I held up the notebook and said, hey, is this right? And I can actually see that I showed my work of how I showed the steps. And the AI can see all that. So it can say, hey, your solution's correct. You got this and this right. But let's say this still isn't enough for me as a student, right? I don't understand how to visualize this problem. I can tell the AI that. So I can say, hey, can you graph this for me? And the AI went ahead and said, yeah, I can graph this equation for you. And it's actually able to use a tool under the hood very similar to Wolfram Alpha to do the graphing. So as you can see here now, it's graphed this equation for me. And now I can say, no, I'm good. Next problem. So now as a student, I've done this SAT math problem. I did it on a piece of paper. AI verified that I did it right for me. It helped me visualize it. And now it's moved on to the next problem. And now if I say like, I'm stuck in this case, it will actually go down and break the steps down for me without fully giving away the answer in this case. So basically, as a student, you can go and use this tool for extra help in a class like math. In terms of how it works for more simple math subjects, I think I might be running a little bit short on time to show that, but one resource I'll share with you all is our use cases page. If you ever go to our website, and the website is flintk12.com, I can share it at the end as well. And then you head over to use cases, you can look at any sort of use cases across different subjects. So if you want to see how you can use it for elementary school students, like fourth grade students, like someone asked, here are some examples, including a math example. So you can see here the teacher put in a very simple goal that students are just learning how to add and subtract money. So give students some interest in the topic by asking them what they want to buy, and then give them some math questions. So you can see here that the AI goes through and asks students some simple questions in math and says like, okay, if you want to buy French fries and milkshake, this is how much it costs. What is the change that you would get from the cashier? That sort of thing. So that's how Flint can be used kind of in those different subject areas as well. I'm going to check the chat real quick to see if there's any other questions. Looks like none so far, so I'll kind of continue wrapping this up and move on to the presentation. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in there at any point. The one kind of final thing I wanted to share is Flint also has image generation, which is something we added recently. So I'm going to see if I can quickly find an example of that to show you all. If not, I will go ahead and just show you some screenshots of how that works. So it looks like I have an example. I'm going to pull it up in this tab here. In this case, the teacher actually created an activity that would be more suitable maybe for like middle school students. So they were saying, okay, we are teaching our students evolution. And specifically, we want to teach the students how species evolve in a rainforest due to natural selection. But they wanted to make it more fun and engaging for the students. So they made the activity about Pokemon. So they told the AI, hey, teach the students in evolution, but make it about Pokemon. So the AI made this fun activity where it's telling the student, hey, what do you think will happen if Pikachu evolves in a tropical rainforest? So the student has to say some answers. They say, okay, maybe the skin will be green. It'll blend in better with the rainforest. The AI will ask all these follow-up questions to really test the students' understanding of the topic. And at the very end, for fun, it will actually show the student an image of a fake Pikachu as if it evolved in the rainforest. So Flint can basically take a very broad topic that the teacher puts in and create this fun, engaging activity for the students. I see a question in the chat, so I'll answer that real quick. The question is, does Flint generate by step-by-step a procedure for solving a particular math problem? Yeah, it does. So if I actually go back to that previous math example, I can maybe go to this tab. I'm going to go back to my profile to find my own data, and then I will go and open that I believe it was this maybe math problem that I was working on, or let's see. Maybe if I open up this math homework assistance, or actually, sorry, I might have to open up the link from scratch. Give me just 1 second. But basically, yeah, at any point, the student can just ask for the AI to give the steps. So for example, here, the AI, when I said I'm stuck, it's able to actually walk me through the steps. And the teacher can set how helpful the AI should be in doing this. So in some cases, the teacher might say they will change the helpfulness level to change how many steps the AI should give away. So by default, the AI will give students help without giving away the answer. So it might give them the next step, but then say like, hey, you should do the work. But I can change that as a teacher. So I can say like full helpfulness level, the AI should give the full solution, or no helpfulness, the AI should really push the student to do the work on their own. But yeah, unlike many large language model tools, Flint is totally accurate at doing really any level of math up to like multivariable calculus. Yeah. Awesome. So I hope that gives you all kind of a broad overview of how to use Flint. I know we covered a bunch of different examples from French language practice to math to even using it based on like YouTube videos for like a classic science. Real quick, I'm going to go back to my slides and I'm going to actually skip ahead towards the end to kind of give you some like testimonials on how people have been using Flint and my predictions for the future of AI in education, because I figured that's something that this audience might be particularly interested in. So right now I'm going to pull up my slides over screen share. Hopefully that is showing up for you, but what you should see right now is a slide with a couple teacher testimonials. So I know I've shown everything from like a technical aspect of like, here's how to use the tool, here's the cool things you can do with it. You might be wondering, who's actually using this? How is it going? So I can't show you all the data on our end because as you can imagine, a lot of it is very sensitive data. But here's a few testimonials on how teachers have been actively using Flint in their classes. So on the left-hand side, we have a testimonial from a French teacher. Madame Audrey Lemieux has been teaching French for over a decade, many of those years at St. George's School, which is a great private school in Rhode Island here in the United States. And she basically uses Flint to have the AI do speaking assignments with their students. So instead of giving students worksheets and then moving group by group and helping each individual student one-on-one, she actually has the AI help half the class and do the one-on-one speaking activities, and she helps the other students manually. And then halfway through the class, she'll switch. So basically, she's doubled the amount of time she can give each student. One of my favorite quotes from her that's not in here is that one time I asked her, hey, Audrey, does Flint actually save you time? And she said, no, it doesn't, because I just use all that extra time with my students to give them more help and more practice. So I really think the best use case of AI isn't going to be teachers sitting around, the AI is doing all the work for them, but the teacher can do more of what they want to do in class. For Audrey, that's more speaking practice with their students manually, while the AI does a lot of the other practice with the students automatically. And I think I saw a question in the chat about computer science. I personally studied computer science in college, very close to my heart, my favorite subject by far. This testimonial from Mr. Julian Cochran from Durham Academy, which is a great school in North Carolina, highlights how he's been using Flint for coding assignments. So he will actually have students go through, put in coding assignments that they're stuck on or coding problems they're stuck on, and the AI will actually walk them through and give them help with any of those problems. So if I go back to Flint, I can actually show you an example of that. I'm going to show you a very simple kind of middle school level assignment that I made yesterday with a teacher that I was working with. In this case, as the teacher, I put in a very simple command. I just said that students should be able to understand and write for loops in Python. And if I go into a preview of this assignment, you can see that the AI will actually go ahead and give students code snippets, and it will actually go ahead and ask them to write their own code as well. And Flint comes with a built-in code editor, so students can put in their code, copy the code that the AI is giving, paste it back with some changes, and have like an interactive coding activity. So that's been one of the main ways that Julian's been using the tool. And just to wrap up, one of the final things I wanted to share is an emerging theory that we have as a company of AI, kind of zooming out a little bit, is a lot of the tools we're using today look like this, right? They look like ChatGPT. You give it a prompt, you say like, hey, can you make me a worksheet? Or hey, can you write this email for me? And it spits out a response. But there's really a big missing piece right now that I think we're only starting to solve. So today, this is what AI looks like, right? It's a chat interface you interact with. It's kind of what Flint looks like too. But this on the right-hand side is what AI will look like tomorrow. And you're probably wondering, what is this spinning kind of 3D object? This is a product made by a company that we're not affiliated with, so I'm not, their salesperson or anything. It's a company called Limitless AI. It's like a company still in development. They're like announcing this product in the future. But their idea is to create like a microphone. So this device is actually this small. You wear it on your shirt. It's meant to be a microphone that listens to everything you say throughout the day, listens to all your meetings, all your conversations, and then it knows everything about your life, and then it can give you very specific suggestions. So maybe in the future, a teacher would wear a tool like this, and it would tell this teacher automatically, here's an area that your students are struggling with. So the title up here at the top of the slide is, we feel that our emerging theory is that for AI, right now it's all about completion, ask the AI for something, getting a quick response. In the future, context will be what matters. How well does the AI understand you? Does it know your students and what they're struggling with? At Flint, we're not focused on building a microphone product anytime soon. We're not going to be shipping off these microphones and listening to everything you say. But a lot of our way our platform is structured is it gets better over time. So as you use Flint, the AI will give you some suggestions on this is what your students are struggling with. Here's an assignment you might want to do as a follow-up. And it starts to help the students in that way too. So it understand which students are visual learners versus which students, might need extra assistance understanding text, for example. And those are the areas that we're just getting started in, but that's really what I'm excited about long term. I know I did a lot of talking and we're running short on time. So the one final thing I wanted to wrap up with, and yeah, that's the name of the product. It's Limitless AI. I think it's just limitless.ai if you want to check it out. Is that, yeah, if you want to find us online, here's the QR code. Our website is flintk12.com. And in the coming weeks, we're actually launching a very easy to use free tier for teachers. Right now, there is an extra step you have to go through where once you go to our website, you have to click request free trial next to that book a demo button. We then follow up with you by setting up a free trial environment for you and your teachers to try out. And in a few weeks, we'll have a way to one-click sign up for that pretty easily. But if anything I've shared here is interesting to you, feel free to check it out. And in general, as you look at AI tools, I'd encourage you to look at things that are student-facing and encourage you to look at things that take context in to make the AI better over time, not just give you the same experience today as 6 months from now. So yeah, thank you so much for everyone for having me. And that's all I had for this presentation.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sohan. This is a very insightful session, and I'm sure most of our participants are really blown away with what Flint AI can do. I also am shocked because the last time I tried it out was before we went on the summer break. And I think with this whole lot of features, I think it opens this up for greater student engagement. Thank you once again. Just like Sohana said, if you or your school are interested, you can just go directly. Like we said, our platform is just to enable teachers to be able to use tech and to give you access in terms of information and knowledge so that you know what to do and where to go. In wrapping this up, like I said, we would have some webinar series every month. You can join. I will encourage you to join the WhatsApp group because that's where we'll do lots of information. The community is growing. So we are officially transitioning from a conference to a community. And I want to encourage you, invite fellow teachers, let them come on board as we build that community together where teachers are able to leverage on each other's knowledge, collaborate, and move education forward within your local schools and within your locality. Again, Sohan, thank you so much for being here. There will be polls on the chat on WhatsApp and on YouTube. Please respond. We would want to also find out from you feedback on the conference. What are the things that you expected? What are the things that we need to improve on so that when we plan additional conferences and webinars, we can factor those in. We'll also, as a community, be getting feedback, and whatever we do will be community-based so that everybody has an input. We'll solicit your feedback and your input into what we should do, what topic, who we should bring on, and we will open it up to every one of us to be an integral part of this community. So I'm going to share my screen finally, and then we just call it a wrap. Finally, again, I want to say a big thank you to every one of us that have been part of this conference. It was the first time for us. It was a huge task, but all in all, we've seen tremendous move in terms of responses and feedback, and we really want to appreciate every teacher that has participated. Like I mentioned, we were targeting this to be during the school holidays, which eventually the calendar got moved by 1 or 2 weeks, so it impacted on attendance to a great extent because teachers are either writing exams or in their final week of school. But again, as a community, we will determine the dates of the next conference. This is also going to happen. We will look at happening again next year, this time around, maybe around this time. And we'll look at going hybrid before we go fully. We'll look at leveraging on hybrid models so that we can bring in a lot of other resource person, both local and international. The internationals will present online, and then the locals will present physically, as the case may be. But we look forward to building a very huge community of teachers that are working together to transition or to transform their classrooms, learning together, sharing experiences together. And I just want to appreciate every one of you. And with this, we've come to the end of the TETC Conference 2024. We'll see you in August and every subsequent month for the webinar series. And come TETC 2025, we'll hope to have become a very huge community, and we'll have learned from one another. Thank you once again. Have a wonderful rest of your day and enjoy your profession. And I hope that everything we've learned today, you can make use of. There will be all of the videos will be broken down into sessions and put on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and let's grow the community together. Thank you once again. Have a wonderful day. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.